Can we get a sound check
Joe,
for
hold
Zoom,
that. You
please?
almost pulled it off.
I know. You can do that thing. Oh, thank you.
Keep going, Kate. We can't quite hear you in the room here.
Hey, excuse me, audience.
Yeah.
Excuse me, audience. Excuse me. We're trying to get Zoom going. Dan is so.
All right, try it again, Kate, please.
Sure. Hi, everybody.
Okay, that's
That-
good.
Is that better? Okay, good.
Yes, that's excellent. It is 6:01 p.m. I'd like to call this meeting of the Harmony CDD to order as I pull up my agenda. Start with roll call. Vice Chairman Chirkonis,
Here.
Supervisor Cornell, Supervisor Williams, Supervisor Phillips.
Here.
And Chairman Lee is here. We have a full board. Let's see, next we have a adoption of the agenda. Is that, I apologize for getting caught a little off guard here. That's, there were some late changes to the agenda, I assume, and could you? Oh, as in like a few days ago, or was this? Okay, I move to accept the agenda as it was amended a few days ago. And we'll hear a second.
Aye.
But does anyone second the?
Oh, I'll second. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
What was the I know there was a couple, what business, was it the business items and consent agenda items that were pulled in? What was the? Do we know what the deltas is, which is why we are approving the adoption of the new agenda? Okay.
I know for starters, there were some things that were, it was like
Added
a
in.
separate cover that were then added. Yeah, like
Okay.
the receipts and all that. Okay. So all in favor of accepting the modified agenda? Aye. All right, all opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next, audience comments. Limit to 3 minutes, please. We do have a come up and speak your name for the microphone.
Barbara Finazzo, 3353 Sagebrush Street in South Lakes. Last month, I had asked that attention be given to power washing on the 5 Oaks. In the minutes, it reflects that the power washing is only for at the end where the circle is. That's not 100% correct. I wanted the circle to be looked at for landscaping improvement, but the power washing still needs to be done for the main sidewalk on the main road coming down from like the dog park along where the houses are. I walk there every morning and it hasn't been done. What has been done, and I'm grateful, is that they've done the grinding. So I just would like to keep that in the forefront and make sure that we don't get lost with that. And then the second thing is, Dan, I saw your posting on Facebook about the apartments. And I would just ask that maybe more information can be provided to the residents, because I'm very confused about what's going on with the county. It kind of doesn't match up to what's on their GIS website. So any insight would be great. Thank you.
Good evening. Debbie Fuentes, 7450 Oakmont Road, Harmony. Of course, it's Harmony, South Lakes. Last month, I'd spoken a little bit about the lakes in South Lake, specifically the one behind my home. It's looking better, but now I'm sort of concerned about the lake itself, which I understand is not CDD, it's somebody else. And there's a lot of weeds in it, which concern us, especially during storm season. Are those going to prevent the water from being lowered if there should be high waters? Something to be concerned about. We don't want to have an issue with blockage of those pipes or whatever that empty the lakes, should there be a need to do so. So I'm thinking that some of those lakes need to be looked at because there seems to be a lot of weeds in it. Also, in terms of the Go Now Act that was discussed at the last meeting, I'm just wondering whether or not that's going to be addressed again and whether or not it's going to be considered because it doesn't seem affordable. Considering we have to hire another person to man it for a lot of money, which then it sounds like too much money to add to the CDD. And also wondering whether or not the June location will be for the next meeting. Will it be back at Harmony? That's it.
Thank you. Sorry to go. You wanna go? Go ahead. Hello, Mary Jane Sludge, 3181 Songbird Circle. Nice to see the new board, and we missed the last couple of meetings. I just have a couple of things. The East Tower, this was brought up last year, still is not done. The lighting is so poor there that it's very dark. And as you know, that road is horrendous. They need to change out the lights. It's like an orange tint. It's very dark. They're very concerned about it. So that's one of them. I had some questions about the app because I guess rumors were being thrown about that a whole new person was needed, but I sat at the first presentation and it was not a full person that was needed. It was a portion of a person that was needed. So I wanted to clarify that. I did talk to a couple of you via email. I sent messages to you about the parking on the streets of Live Oak. And I want to just tell you that 2 people were looking in the lakes to purchase property and asked me specifically, how do I love living here? And that one question that came out from both of them is, this looks like a parking lot. What's with all the trailers on the main road? That came from 2 people who want to buy property here. So the CDD does have some power because you're a board, and I know that it's a county road, but it's an issue when you can't get people to buy properties. And they're asking residents that question before they purchase. So that's a question. The other thing I wanted to talk about is the consistency of Infomark. I've been coming to the meetings now for I think 2 years. There was supposed to be a project board. I don't know whatever happened with the project board. So you never know what items have been done. And now I'm even more concerned that we've had 3 district managers and 3 field supervisors in a year. That makes me very, very concerned. I used to be a project manager and administrator, so I'm very concerned about that. Accountability is key, and I'm really concerned that we don't have that right now. And the development, I know you guys are going to talk about. My only concern is that entrance. It's going to be very dangerous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Carol Castle, 322 Schoolhouse Road. Just wanted the board to know that the whole trail around Long Pond by Bug Lake is infested with fire ants and needs treatment.
Thank you.
Any other audience comments in person?
Richard Mason, 7154 Five Oaks Drive, Ashley Park. Just wanted further clarification since the apartments are immediately next to my townhome, as far as any clarification on how the CDD fees would be in terms of the population density of the apartments, and then also what the more information on the development. Thank you.
Any other comments from the audience here in person? Anyone on Zoom like to speak up? Okay, hearing none, I will move forward to the staff reports. First, we have landscaping. No one still hear me all right? We're down to microphones tonight. Okay, if you ever have a issue hearing us, please just send me a text and we'll see what we can do.
Good evening, my name is Nick Matthew with United Land Services. My report, so when it comes to the mowing, this month it's been light to avoid ruts and stress. We entered into a little drought, so I'm extra cautious on that, especially underneath the shade of trees. The St. Augustine, we're still mowing it at 4.5 inches. On the lakes and all the hay, we're at about 3 1/4. hasn't really needed it. Some of the ponds, we kind of just been vacuuming, so to speak, to get all of the leaf litter off of it and acorns. Um, the dog park, we had a massive main line repair that needed to be done. That has been corrected, so the 2.5 inch main. If you recall, last month we had one, this is about 20 yards away from that. I'm finding that it happens at all of the elbows, and I typically see it a lot when it's cold. So it's just hitting, and these are like some of the original piping, and the overs kind of flip it, and then they apply the pressure, and it just can't take hold.
Mhm.
The palm on the pool deck is removed and ready for brick pavers. The tree on 5 Oaks has been removed. The cables and main line have been repaired. And as of yesterday, we added the drip line. We are just waiting on the oak tree to arrive with Christmas. It's getting tight with scheduling. I do look forward to being around the 6th. As it stands right now, we do have another ongoing mainline break, and this one's running from the main entrance by the tower all the way down past the second entrance. It's broken 3 spots. 2 sections have been repaired. They're both 2 inch. There's another section that's quite deep. This is due to magnolia roots. We've had to remove a section of the root. It is still draining. We've brought in electric pumps. It's that deep. We found an area of around 50 yards flooded. So we immediately shut the meter off, which means about 40% of our irrigation system is off.
Mhm.
I do expect it to be dry Sunday. I do expect the repair after that, Monday or Tuesday before Christmas. This is an emergency, so we're still gonna get this taken care of, vacations or not. We did add a little bit more seed to the soccer fields. Certain areas where the soil has been kicked around so much. We'll probably do it one more time in February as well. We did put it back on the regular watering schedule.
Cool, thank you.
And so obviously the signs are done with that. Well, the low branches on cordgrass that they came up, we had those trimmed this week as well. So they are up. We will revisit this in that area again in March when we prune the property's palm trees. We'll do those at the pool as well. The only 2 proposals that I had to go over was last month's request for the seed application at the easements in the South and East Lake. This is for rye seed and for Bahia grass. During this time of the year right now, the grass that they currently have is basically weeds, and remaining of that is dormant. So we want to put a species of Bahia on there to kind of compact the dirt, because they are higher than the neighbors, so it's always washing out, covering sprinklers. This price includes the labor, the material, and it's for all 9 of the easements as seen from the map. We did go with Bahia. It will germinate within 90 days, so we will do an application now, and we will do another one in March, right when the rain starts. The first application will include rye seed. The root base from rye seed helps to germinate much quicker. So, and the other one is just to replace the flowers in the beds. They just timed out. That's our late summer rotation, so I was just gonna go with a winter mix that will carry us till springtime. It's for the same contracted price as always. And that is all I have to report as far as this month maintenance.
Okay. Do we get to considering those in a minute? Do we have just on the board any specific questions for Nick?
I do. The marigolds or mops around the circle. I don't know, you guys ever deadhead them?
We do. We deadheaded them, I wanna say about a week or right before Halloween. But when they are at 80% of their life cycle, when we went to go in and weed it, we've noticed that they're just dying at the bottom. They're just rotting out. So that's
That
when,
was my next question, is how long do they typically?
yeah, so 4 months. Because when we put them in, we're putting them in at 4 inches. So the cool thing is they're beautiful. Bad thing is that takes about a month off of them, so it's still about 4
So
months.
they're getting close to their own.
Yeah, that and, you know, the color wise, it's certainly time for a winter annual that can tolerate freezes and, things.
Well,
of
I
that
was gonna
nature.
offer to go deadheads, I mean, I'm not gonna waste my time.
Yeah, well, I put in to replace them.
Yeah, oh, okay.
I do wanna comment on the ants. We did treat in response to your email, we put a granular out. I think it was like 40 piles. We will continue to do so. As we all know, especially in Harmony and Buck Lake, by the water, anytime it rains, it's a problem. Year one, we put an arena at all of our parks, and that got us about 11 months of relief.
Mhm.
I am gonna bring a proposal to do that again. The cool thing is if we're not satisfied come July, we send them out and they do a free service call. As she said, it's a safety issue, so I'm only gonna propose the parks where our children play. I'm not gonna do it anywhere else. We'll continue to treat. I wanna touch on that. On the fourth week of each month, we focus on parks. The second week of each month, we focus on the walkways. I don't wanna say parks, but like sitting areas, and things like that. And we just kind of rotate, but we can control it more in the off season, but when the rain hits, that arena, that's a product that would really help.
So I know we kind of talked about this, whether it was last meeting or the month before, but the seasonality, maintenance and things that we need to kind of keep track of. Do we have like a season, like a yearly seasonality maintenance of things that we, or you guys that keep track of, whether it's fire ants, whether it's putting rye seed down for areas that need more, thorough things, and I don't know if Evermark has that, but it'd probably be good to keep, whether it's a bulleted list of things that each season that we kind of go and keep track of.
So there currently isn't one in place, but what I can do, now that we've done it 2 years, at the top of the year, at our next CDD, I can kind of give a new schedule, like, hey, I recommend we do this for this time of the
Right.
year, and then we're gonna do 4 annuals rotations
Yeah.
and, mulching on the playgrounds.
Right.
Really.
Yeah.
And then I can just kind of give you a schedule of what your yearly cost would be outside of our contract.
Yeah, I think that would be good, and it would help us roll into the budget of what we need to maintain throughout the year and how to address those issues as they come up and be preventative in those areas, right?
Yeah, I will get a list together of what a hypothetical
Yeah.
schedule.
No,
would
that,
be.
I think that'd be good,
All right,
but,
so I'll bring that on next month, but I will bring that proposal for that treatment for a 1-year warranty. I'm gonna bring on the parts like we did year one.
okay.
Okay.
Let's see. My own notes here. Did you have anything to say, one of our residents brought up for the roundabout that's at the end of Five Oaks, the east end toward North Lakes?
So I did, it was found in the, in field inspection, and I put my response on there, we were gonna do a proposal for, January, not to prolong it. It's just this time of the year, the freezes, scare me, especially with the shade cover, it's a little bit colder and it's wide open right there. So we would like to propose that in January and get it rolling in February when we've only got 1 or 2 risky freezes left, because what I am gonna propose for that area is a theme that resembles the Harmony Square with our plumbago. It attracts butterflies and there's blooms all year round. So that is a plan that I will be proposing, and knowing that I stalled it for that reason. But we do have a plan for that and a little bit of sod there too. But I do that.
Other thing is, I know the soccer field was the first kind of go at seeding and see how it turned out and stuff, and then the parks on Middlebrook. We talked about seeding that. I think you brought a proposal, but we were gonna wait to see how the soccer field went. Well, I guess, where do we stand with that?
I know that was the plan, however, what I would like to say is, what we did for the soccer field is not what we're doing for those
The
parks.
parks.
So we want to do a chaos, because the kids, I mean, they're hard on it, but we want them to be, because it's a park. We
Mhm.
expect it to be played on. So that proposal isn't the same.
Okay,
Now, with the easements that we're providing in the lakes, that is more along the lines of what you would want to look at. And I can take pictures of before and after, because that is the blend that I would propose. Yeah.
okay,
I do think we should start the birches. They already did some stonework over there. We did look at that. That's heavy traffic. There's a mailbox there. The seed won't stand a chance. We can't tell people, hey, don't check your mail.
right.
I have a kid, so if I'm standing there and I walk the path, my toddler is going to walk right in the grass. So I think right there, we, bring in a couple pallets of sod and we see the rest.
Okay,
but I can re-propose that if you like. It was relatively new, I want to say 3 or 4 months ago. And we can do the two parks. I know what you're talking about.
okay. I guess, and for Mark, can one of you guys track, that proposal down and we can bring it up at, whether it's February, or March, whatever, Nick, you believe that's probably the right timing for, laying sod
March.
down, March?
Yeah, March. Oh, the freezes, the tree canopy, even with the seed, we have a 90% germination rate and within 3 months on Bahia.
Okay,
So I would love to use that there around March.
So that'd be February meeting to.
Exactly right. So next month that wouldn't be there. I can bring the old one as a reference. You guys can think about that. It's relatively new. But
yeah, bring a new one maybe.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'll do for the both parks.
Okay.
And I'll include the sod on the verges there and the square foot.
Thank you.
We have any other, questions from the board for, landscaping?
I'm good.
Did they do the, the virgins? I had a request for benchmark to take back the virgins.
I've been hearing that a lot on camera.
As in, like
Instead of like the resident doing it, they want.
Oh, yeah, I think we went past that. I think we already got a quote from Nick, I believe, and it was, no,
I never gave a quote.
I don't know.
So that was in debate, and I will say to that point, we're here to work for you guys, whatever you want, but. So we already maintain the irrigation and the trees, but like when we do sod, and we have, and then we've even warranted that. And then they go and mulch it and cut it 2 weeks later. I have no control over it. Well, to this day, some of them already have my phone number. I'll go over and I'll talk with them. I've done 3 applications off the record to them at no charge to them for fertilizer after the fact. I go there now and the sod that I just put some areas is dead. There's wood. It's not the pH level. I can't even get a gauge in some sections. And to the homeowner's point, if you look directly across the street in that verge, it looks identical. The trees have taken 80% of that soil. There is a vine that seems to be working, that the homeowners seem to like. So if we do take that, at that point, we can correct it because then we can control it more. We can put, tape up, stay off it for 4 weeks, allow it to get established. It's worth looking into. We're already there. In fact, we already, as of last week, there's 3 main residential landscape contractors that we've had to make deals with because of the drainage. That if they could, being that they're already gonna blow them over across the street, do it the day before we come. So it's not killing our turf. They've agreed. They're not even denying what they're doing.
Yeah,
They'll go right over there and head nod, but at least it's organized, but it's organized chaos.
yeah,
So, and it's only a couple of areas. It's worth, for me, I just assume we do it just to save for the headache and the actual turf, because if it goes bad, it's on us. If it goes good, well, glad you guys don't know that, so I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So
Thank you. I just had a resident that.
it would have to be amended in, and we would certainly open to that. You guys discuss it, and I would call Brett on that. I know that price did exist, but that was before my time.
All right,
move to approve.
well, yeah, so we have, we get ahead of ourselves, yeah, so we have the proposals, sorry, multitask too much here.
Contract number 141169 and
We'll start with, 1411181, which is for the, seating around the, south and east lake easements.
Yeah, so there's 9 of them anywhere, where there's not a house around the corner or where a mailbox is. Then I actually took a meeting with some of the residents to their point. It is higher, it is a mess. And we've even went in and fixed all the irrigation. It certainly needs it.
Hey, just for reference, next time, I know you got some pictures with the pipes, mainline breaks and stuff, but just maybe a couple pictures for examples for,
Okay.
I don't know where they're all at, but I can imagine, what you're talking about, but just a
Again,
visual.
Absolutely. And I could provide pictures of once it's applied, so we can judge it for other projects down the road and stage it, day 1, 90 days later. Do that.
No, that'd be great,
Okay.
before and after, yeah. But,
brief time out. Here our meeting about when we start itself. Yeah, that'd be great. Sure, tomorrow. All right. So I will move to approve contract 141181 in the amount of $2,829.80 for the seating application.
Second that.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Move to adopt contract 141169 in the amount of $3,500 for the scheduled installation of winter annual flowers.
Second that.
Great, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And proposal 141020 for the emergency main line pipeline repair in the amount of $897.
Second that.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous, motion carries. I think we've covered everything, Nick.
We have, and if anyone has a preference on flowers, feel free to email me. I will tell you if we can do it or not based on our base levels and the shade. But as it stands now, I'm gonna go with a winter mix.
Joe or any of the ladies want to pick one? I'm not.
I'll have my
a big
email,
flower,
and I'll let you know if
but-
we can do it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Just buy them.
Any final questions for Nick?
Thanks for all your guys' hard work. Keeping the community nice and clean and beautiful.
Thank you, it means a lot.
Thank
Yes.
you.
All right, next item is field manager report.
Safe holidays.
You too, Mo.
Evening, Mr. Bauer, you're from like service supervisor.
Speak up a little. So
Yeah, for sure. Yes, for sure. Can you hear me better?
Yeah.
Perfect. And for the project that we currently have running, we're working, some of the issues that are in the agenda with the pergola, actually, Summer Club, we're painting the pergola. Working with the pressure washing the 5 we continue. So we're going up on the left side, the golf course. I know that you sent me an email about that.
Mhm.
So since we start, we're going in the left side when you're going up to the 5. And then we come down the opposite.
Okay.
So that's a project, that's the project that we're working on. Also, we work in that same side, working on the grinding from the sidewalks. It's a lot of panels that we're grinding. Also, I'm going around the community to mark the panels with a dot, the one that has to be grind, with an X, the one that has to be replaced. There's a lot of panels, 5 Caprior on the school that needs to be replaced. It's just, it cannot be grind anymore. It has been grind before, and it's just, the roots keep getting the panels higher and higher. So that specific part right there has to be, we gotta get a proposal. That's why I'm doing the inventory, that way we can get a vendor in order to get this proposal in to replace it.
Where's the location of that one at?
There's a ton.
There's a ton.
Yes.
Okay.
Only, just for you to have something in mind, since at the end of the 5 in the right side, into the golf course, we have more than 75 panels to replace. Just in that section, in the left side. We're not talking about right side, it's out the sidewalk. Only just one side.
And I believe, because he has marked them off as well.
Okay.
Yes.
So
So-
Dan, I know you're more experienced in this area. How does that work? Do we pull up the sidewalk panels and have to cut roots out? What does that look like?
Sometimes, yeah, if they can just grind it, there's whatever machinery, but that depends on how tall it is, the surrounding panels, and like I said, if it's already in the ground, there's just not enough material, we grind down to nothing.
Right.
Or so little that someone can break it just, walking or biking over it,
Uh-huh.
so. Yeah, I guess to a point where it's, you have to lift out the whole panel, clear out whatever is pushing it up, trim back the roots or whatever, fill back in, report.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's correct. Based on my experience, the way that we do it, we have to cut the concrete, remove everything. We gotta cut the roots. We gotta frame the area and then we gotta throw the concrete again. That way everything can be nice and level, at the same level as the other sidewalks.
So do we have the field services capabilities to that? Will it be outside vendors?
If it's small panels, we can do that on site, us, but most of the ones on the oak and the cabrier and firewall,
the big
they're the big
trees.
panels.
Yeah.
So we definitely wanna have to contract, a vendor in order to do that.
Okay.
That's for sure.
All right.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so we currently, I don't know if you have been going around the bug lane, we're working the fence in the parking lot. We replaced everything because all that wood was old and rusted. So we replaced all that part right there. We installed a new wood. So basically the fence is all done. Tomorrow we will finish with the paint and then the fence is gonna be complete 100%. The swimming club pool, the water heater is down. I already contacted the company who installed the water heater. We are scheduled for service the 27th, which is next Friday. The reason that I didn't get any other company to come before them is because we're still on the warranty with them. And then we are still on the warranty into 2028 for manufacturer, on the full cover,
Yeah.
yes. And then the parts we are covered into 2030. So we have to then wait into a lot of residents have been complaining about that, but that was the sooner that it can be at the committee is next Friday.
Okay, and when did it go down?
Which is.
That was a Saturday. Yes. Yeah, the pool here and the swimming club. The point, the lady back there should bring up about the light in the east entrance. I'll put that in my notes. I'm gonna be working with that this week.
Okay.
To see if we can, I gotta rent a lift, that way we can get up there, replace the lights, and so I will be working with that. I don't know if you guys have any questions for me.
Okay, so when it comes to the panels that need replacement and are too large for us to do internally, can we expect a proposal for that next month? Do we, what's the time frame?
For the proposals, or the ones that we're gonna be doing on site?
Well, I mean, if you guys can do them on site, I mean, then you expect.
I mean, yeah, the small panels, we're gonna start working with that since I have a couple of projects that I don't wanna leave something in the middle of the project and then start something new. So I'm working still with the pressure washing, because I know that it could be a big hassle, people walking around, a lot of people walking around the sidewalk, so I'm working with that first. We currently, have 2 different setups of pressure washing that we build and everything, so I have my team working with that. Also with the paint that we have, the fence, so we have been on a couple projects. I have not been finished yet to mark all the sidewalks around the community, because I have to go around the whole community with the golf course, marking here and there, so it takes a minute. But we're looking forward to, after I finish this project next 2 weeks, I'm gonna, so basically at the beginning of the next year, that's when we're gonna start doing the small panels that we can do in the bisection.
Okay, so here now, like, within 2 weeks, you're saying you should be done the pressure washing project, done the painting projects?
Oh, painting project will be done this week, for sure, yeah.
Okay.
The fence and the bulkhead, that will be done tomorrow. And then the pergola, we are working on it. With this week, we have not been able to continue with the paint because it has been raining on and off. But definitely before the end of the year, the painting with the pergola and both, that will be the Ashley and swimming club, that will be done for sure. Yes.
The heater in this, the heater in the swim club, is that Ashley Park or is that the main swim club?
That's the main, yeah,
Okay.
that's, yeah,
Okay.
yes.
Do you have a estimate on when the pressure washing will be,
No, I don't. I mean, the reason that I cannot give you a specific time because, I mean, we're talking
other
about,
things come up?
yeah, that's basically the pressure washing is like a weekly routine for us. I mean, we're talking about the whole community that we have to go around.
So I know you guys started basically at the swim club on 5
Going up.
and you're going all the way down
Yes.
to what, South Lake or East Lake?
All
All the way down.
Yes.
So how far are you guys
We are
down
just passing the 50 plus,
the tennis courts or?
yes, they have like a clubhouse.
Amenities.
Yes, how many center? Yeah, we are around that area. Yes, that's correct.
So they're probably like 35% done.
Only one side is really done.
Right.
Yeah.
They're gonna come loop back around and come on the other side. Yep, so they're working it. So
Yes.
thanks, guys.
Now, Dan, can I ask a question? Would you prefer, given by the next meeting, if we have just on the Infomark side, because I do understand that we would have to reach out to concrete vendors for the larger panels. Would you prefer for Infomark to have a proposal ready by the next meeting or February meeting?
If the timeline works, with field service, being available to, oversee or coordinate that work, we should be fixing it.
Okay, so I'll work with Raul on getting, proposal for the ones that they can do. And then we'll also work on trying to see if we can get a vendor out to take a look and give us a price on what's gonna cost for the larger ones.
Yeah, for sure.
Hopefully we can get one, at least one proposal by the next meeting. If not, then we should have one for February.
Any other questions on the board for, field manager?
Yeah, I do actually. This might go along with our last point here about grinding the sidewalks, but I've had a couple emails from two different residents about the sidewalk on Schoolhouse Road. So they've been reporting like cracks. It's really uneven. I went by there. It is pretty uneven. It's obviously a really high traffic area being on Schoolhouse. People park their cars every day for drop off and pickup. So two questions. That raised sidewalk and the cracks, does the liability or the responsibility there fall on the homeowner, or is that CDD or field service responsibility?
It's located right in front of the homeowner's property.
It's in front of the homeowner's property, yes.
That question, I've been asking that question, because in that area, I see a couple of homeowners that they take care of their own sidewalks for pressure washing. Grinding and replacement, that will be us. So basically, that will be part of the inventory that I'm creating right now
Okay,
for replacement.
okay. So I can send you an email with that information, but from what I understand, there's been a couple emails sent already. So I guess that'll bring me to what's gonna be my next point. The process, do we have like a standard operating procedure where these sort of things are tracked, like these requests are tracked at all? So do we have like a current logging system where we can keep track of resident requests, service calls, maintenance issues, that sort of thing?
I mean, well, every time that we receive an email under the CDD maintenance, that's when we attend it. I mean, personally, I just go by, get the any issue done. But currently, with the answering your question, that would be a good, with the Google app that we are talking about,
Mhm.
that would be a good
Right.
tracker.
Yeah.
If we had that, like a system like that, because that would be everybody who put a invoice from the community, we can have, see how long has been open the ticket, when it's gonna be resolved, and that basically is gonna help us a lot in that process.
Right, okay, so I know the GoGov app is proposed, but there is no tracking system now.
No, not
Okay.
currently, not currently.
Understood, okay. I do have a couple other things just to bring to your attention. Access cards. Residents have been reporting like 9 to 10 months, even more, waiting to receive access cards or just not ever even hearing back. I think it was in the June or July meeting, that it was mentioned, we've had a 90% decrease in access card revenue, which is basically the small monetary amount that we get when an access card is, processed. So 90% down. I don't know if that number has changed, but it doesn't really align obviously with the neighborhood's growth. And at that time, from what I understood, Jorge was here. I don't know if he's still around, but the way he explained it essentially was that applications are being manually processed, have to be driven to Celebration where they're processed. Cards are printed and then brought back this way. When the point of the 90% decrease in access card revenue was brought up, he said that those applications and even those payments, checks, money orders, etc., were sitting in the office unprocessed. Do you know if that's been resolved?
This is something that's been, now that I'm hearing about
For the
this,
first
but
time?
yes,
Okay.
this will be the first time. Since I started in the community, me personally, I've been taking care of that. Every time that a resident send me a request, that's getting done frame between 2-3 days.
Yeah,
That's
to speak
interesting.
on that, I mean, since I've taken over, any email or request that I get in terms of an access card, I forward it over to him directly, or I put him on an email to respond to the resident, if it's come for them. I can't speak about before I was here, because obviously I didn't know about it, but, if it's, better for the board, I can copy someone on the board, so they know that it is getting processed, that it's getting done, just to have a site plan, if you think that's.
That would be probably good for some accountability, only because as early as last week, I received a call about a application that was submitted 3 months ago that they've still, and I can email you that person's name directly, but this has been an ongoing trend.
Sure, so what I would say to that is, any resident who has come with complaints of not being able to get access cards, just forward them to me.
Okay.
And I'll make sure that I get all of it done. If you'd like, I'd copy you on it or any other board member on it, just for accountability, so we know we're getting this done. And with this process, it will decrease that percentage.
Okay, so to your understanding though, every single access card application that you've received has already been processed and the residents have their cards?
As far as if they haven't, then we'll get it expedited.
Okay. Okay, and then kind of like the same question for the boat and pavilion reservations. Residents have consistently reported like not only delays in getting back an answer after the requests are submitted, but sometimes even after they're approved, no one's there to let them into the docks or whatever the case may be. So can you just kind of talk through the process? Maybe we're missing something. Is there something else that the residents need to be doing?
Every time the resident does a request, at night around 12 a.m., around that time, that's when we receive an email from the app, Jungle Laser. So the next morning, everybody comes here, the guys, when they come in, we see the app, who has the reservation. If for some reason the wind is more than 10 miles per hour, I will proceed and cancel the reservation because it's not safe to be in the bunk lane.
Right.
With so much wind. The engine from those boats are electric, they don't have too much power, so they cannot just be up there with that amount of wind. Normally the one person that attends this is always Brad, if not, it will be Nerky, and those people are very, very responsible with that process for the
Okay.
boats.
Okay.
Once we see that, we see all that information. The only day that we don't receive any reservations is Tuesdays, because that's the maintenance day. Other than that, we always has been, since I started in the community, we have been tapping that
Okay, so I guess 2 questions. How long have you been in Harmony?
since beginning of October.
Beginning of October, okay. And then on a regular basis, on a regular day, how many field service guys do we have in Harmony?
So between Friday, Saturday, Sunday morning, Sunday and Monday, we have only 2.
I'm sorry,
Friday,
Friday?
Saturday,
Mhm.
Sunday, and Monday.
Okay,
Monday and Friday, 2 field service and myself, so that'll be 3.
right.
And then Saturday and Sunday is only 2.
No, you said Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday is 2, and you.
No, Friday and Monday. That'll be 2 field service and me. Saturday and Sunday is only 2 guys in field.
You mean Friday, Monday through Friday, it's you and 2 guys.
Yeah, I'm Friday and so basically since I'm Monday to Friday and Monday, I'm with the guys, we only have 2. Including myself will be 3. Only Friday and Monday. The rest of the week, we have the full staff, which is 5 and myself 6.
Okay, so Fridays and Mondays, there's 3. And
Yes.
every other day, so Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday,
Though we have full staff, which is 6.
which is 6.
Yes.
Okay, that's perfect. Okay, and last point here, the reason I ask that is because, you know, there's been some overall, I think efficiency probably would be the best word. And I think it was pointed out earlier, I think this is our 5th district manager in a couple years, and like our 3rd or 4th also, maybe more field service manager. So it's understandable that there's obviously some gaps in communication, some things that you don't know. But I think the general consensus of the neighborhood has been that there is some dissatisfaction. And so I'm obviously not placing blame, you just got here, but I'm just trying to think of a way, and this is probably something that the board can chime in on. I think there needs to be like some clear, actionable, measurable plan here to kind of resolve these issues, and so that there's a little bit more accountability. Not saying that you're not doing your job, but just so the residents know that you're doing their job. Just, I don't know, what do you guys think? We kind of really don't even have a logging or tracking system for requests that come in, so how do we know if things are being taken care of or not?
I know when I email to get things done, I get an email back saying completed, and they'll even send me a picture. And that's as a resident, not as a board member. I mean.
Okay.
I mean,
Same with me, before I was on the board, whatever I wrote and asked anything, that's why it's hard for me to imagine there's so many people that aren't getting responses. And even my access cards, when my son came and I added him,
Yeah.
card was there in 2 hours.
yeah.
You know, they made it right away.
Yeah.
I mean, but, yeah, and I was nobody then, I mean, you know.
Yeah.
it's not-
Well,
But anyway.
So we, this is in the context of moving through the meeting, this has been a
All right,
financial
good.
report and not.
Yeah.
I think we're postponing that conversation to, we have some other things we're discussing later on, but as far as specific for the field manager report, do you have any other specific questions?
No.
Just to comment on what Brittany's kind of alluding to, and I think it's not you, Jose, it's not you, Joseph. I think it goes to your leadership and overall overarching Infomark leaders that, I don't know if they're listening or not, but they need to make sure that communication and translation of what your responsibility is in communication needs to be to make sure that Harmony is successful. In order for you guys to still maintain harmony, is something that you guys need to talk about and include the board with us about that, because there has been a lot of turnover and inconsistencies, and it's recognized. So that's just a shout out to that issue.
Well, of course, just touching quickly on this, if the board has any ideas on anything that, for practicality or just trying to get things more efficient, that may serve well with our team, please send it to me and we'll try and review it between him and I, and of course Howard and Carrie, and we'll see if this implementation will work moving forward, and if it does, at least you have an idea that was implemented that you know will get the ball moving for those things.
But I think the project board was a good thing when we had assessing to a form on the
Yeah,
website.
I'm working on that. You should have an update soon. I would like to say Friday, and tomorrow, I just want to make sure that everything is underway, so probably by next Friday, you should have an update. I apologize about that.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I think something needs to change.
Sure.
I think the format, the tracking, the transparency of who's working what, email traffic, that whole thing. And I know the GoGo app, which I'm for, which can improve that, but there's not enough management that we're asking you guys to do to make sure that you guys are doing a good job. That's bottom line.
Right, and just like in terms of asking the board if we can think of anything to kind of make things more efficient. I know that you guys are in Celebration too, and they're using the GoGov app, and that has been presented to us, but I'm wondering, is there another option in other neighborhoods where they've not implemented this GoGov app, something that won't cost us? Do you have another solution? Right, or like what systems in other neighborhoods or communities where you're not using the GoGov app, how are you tracking things or making sure that things are handled efficiently?
Sure. As of right now, I've got 2 districts that have actually fixed up in them, and they report directly to either Howard or Carrie with anything that they find. Of course, copy me on it because I'm the district manager. And it's more like a plan of attack, and depending on the size or the severity of the situation, it's more like as we go along. There's no real
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to be clear, there is no central logging system. If we needed to pull like a rec for whatever, some sort of liability, we needed to pull some sort of record from 3 years ago, that doesn't exist. We don't have like a,
Well, okay, so Infomark as a whole has a database or a system where they have previous documents for each district that manages. So we can pull documents if needed, if it's something that prior to Infomark's status in the district. We would have to do
But
research.
Right.
but that's only through email traffic, right? There's no formal document that says we did this and signed off on it and this guy did this, right? I mean, it's,
Anything that's executed within the district and was at the time that Infomark was a management company for the district, they should have. I can find out for sure. If not, then I can-
no, yeah, for sure, but it's all emails. It's, I mean, you can have documents of Excels or whatever you guys track, but the formal document is gonna be an email from one resident or from the board to you guys, right? So,
the whole point.
but anyways,
Any other questions? All right, Jose, thank you very much.
Thanks.
thanks.
Nothing personal.
Give it that report.
Yeah.
His name is Jose.
Oh, this is Raul. Okay,
Okay.
Raul. I didn't know that was Raul.
It was Jose?
Yeah, I was like, who's Raul?
His name is Jose, bro.
Okay,
Gotcha.
okay. Now we know.
Engineer.
Yes.
You ready, David?
I'm ready now.
You don't have to watch your hands.
Not anymore, so. Good evening, members. I wasn't here for the last meeting when you guys got sworn in, dealing with all the hurricane stuff for the clients, but we're good. So I'm gonna go back in a couple things that were approved in October before y'all came on board.
Just real quick, we don't have any documents from.
No, these are all just all updates.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
So the Five Oaks Drive Maintenance Facility that went back and forth for over a year, whether it was gonna go to the park, the golf course facility, or what's proposed now, which is at Five Oaks Drive, next to the dog park. That was approved in October, 2 months ago, for a consultant to the design, permitting, construction administration, and that was approved for $65,525. After that meeting, Kate John produced a agreement between the CDD and what they call themselves Common Oak Engineering. I was targeting giving Kate the end date for that agreement, which I provided today. They've since finalized it and will give it to the engineer to execute to get him started the first of the year. So. The next project that was approved in October was what they call the estates drainage improvements. It's basically rerouting some drainage pipes behind some property that has been compromised by somebody putting a fence in years ago and drove the fence through the pipe. We received a bid from Element Environmental in a tune of $16,680. Likewise, Kate produced an agreement. I gave her the end date today. That's been finalized as well, and they too will get the materials ordered, and when that arrives, they should be starting construction, hopefully by mid-January during the dry season, which is good. The third element is an update on what they call Claybrook Road, the high school sidewalk ramp. This has been going back and forth for a couple meetings. The board had asked me to get a quote from a vendor. So I reached out to PJ, who was with Element Environmental. He said it's basically 1 to 2 day job, and he gave me an estimate of $7,000. If you're hooked, 7,000
For that ramp?
for the ramp. Yep. So I told him to hold off on a new bid simply because we had new board members. Old board members have left, and so I want to get everybody's pulse. If that's something you want to move forward with, I'm gonna give us a quote officially that you can vote on next meeting, but I want to get everybody's temperature on that project.
Lucas,
Yeah, I think it's a little much, but I think it's a great improvement for safety for the kids getting out of school. I'm for this. I have been. It's up to the board to vote, obviously, but please bring the quote to the next meeting, and everyone can give their opinion on things. But I mean, we've just approved $7,000 for maintenance for landscaping, so I mean, it sounds like a lot, but I think in the long run it'll be more efficient and easier access for kids getting out of school, so.
Okay. Anybody else? So I'll bring forth the formal quote if the board wants, and
I mean, just again, taking a quick pulse, I mean, Lucas said his part, and I mean, between your members and all that, I mean, do we have any just hard no, that's too much? I mean, if it would be, you know, a time of engineering hours that we would be spending preparing this, and if it's something that four of us are already hard no, or even three of us. And
I do have a question. I've seen it in, Lake Nona, where it's essentially the sidewalk, there's no drilling into the sidewalk. It's just another concrete piece that's added, like a little ramp right off to the side. I would hate to spend more money on engineering dollars to get another quote. Is that not something that field service can have? Do they, I mean,
so there's no more
I don't know.
engineering. I'll just let you know, we did the sketch several months ago. That's done. I gave it to the contractor. That's what he based his quote on for the quantity. It meets DOT standards for 88 criteria. So there's no more engineering or anything like that. If you're all interested, they'll give you a formal quote. It'll be the same price, but I didn't want them to spend the time to do an official quote if the temperature here wasn't supportive or for it.
So Brittany, what you're, I think, talking about is adding a ramp after the sidewalk, which goes onto the county road. We're talking about basically removing pieces of the sidewalk and making a ramp within that area. And so they'd have to remove concrete and then mold that structure in there.
because it's our property versus anything adding onto the road.
Understood. Okay, that clears things up. I mean, I have a middle schooler too, so I appreciate the initiative for sure. That rides. its
It
bike
wasn't for
every
me, it
day.
was from one of my
I have
friends
a
that
middle
have
schooler that
middle
goes through the
schoolers,
tunnel
so.
every day, so I get it. I
But-
don't like it.
They tell me that the kids are bolting out of school and they're on scooters and electric scooters and bikes, and they're holding on and they're jumping off and they're falling down and they're getting elbow scratched and knee scratched and doing all kinds of crazy things as high schoolers and middle schoolers
Yeah.
do, so.
This is as a drop off area. We didn't want the ramp to encroach into the drop off area.
Yeah.
So the ramp is being recessed into the existing.
Right.
But
So that's just so I'm clear, obviously total novice here, only my second meeting. That's not something at all that field services can handle.
Well, we want the engineering to be done there, again, you know, making sure ADA compliance, and there's not gonna be any, you know, if something, don't take us the wrong way, if something is, you know, done, incorrectly, you know, that David has his, license and everything, when he's, you know, standing it, there's a lot more, yes,
I don't think they have the tools and knowledge and experience to do it, basically. They'll be,
Thank you.
That was my question.
they gotta get out there with a, jackhammer and.
I would be more in favor of it if it wasn't right in front of the tunnel. Because that's having kids go right out between parked cars.
Yeah.
And my kids are in high school now, but I spent many a year picking them up at the middle school.
And Joe, we talked about this, but they still do that now. That's the whole point. And so them,
Every time I see them, they go down to the corner and then they jump. That's what I'm saying. If you wanted to put the ramp down where I see the kids going off, but they shouldn't go off right in front of the
they
tunnel.
shouldn't do a lot of things.
So now we're making it easier for them to go.
Okay, well, all right.
No, it's a discussion. You can correct me.
No,
but
I'm not gonna
that's
correct you. I'm just saying what
that could be
I know.
question for David right now, right here, is that estimate kind of
Can we-
to where it is versus, you know, does it make sense to consider doing it anywhere else from your point of view and having designed this?
I mean, I was out there 2 or 3 times and I saw a kid once. Of course, I don't live out here. And like any good kid, I mean, he was coming out of the high school and jumped off and went into the road. But I don't know, shifting it one way or the other, it's not gonna change the price. It's still the same concrete work. So again, I'll leave it to the board's direction to keep.
I
it
mean, just
located.
let's look at this. When you have a sidewalk and you have a crosswalk, are you gonna have a ramp going down so the kids can go across, or you can just have a end of this concrete? I mean, if you just look at it like that, it's a simple answer. You're gonna have a ramp down so they don't fall and fall over. I mean, it's $7,000, which seems like a lot, but at the end of the day, it's gonna be implemented there for however long Harmony exists for, and we're gonna forget about it in the next 2 years, whatever. But I'm not trying to convince you. We can all have a discussion, but
Pretty hard to do, so it's,
So you can still toss me into it, but I guess I think kids.
All right, we'll submit a form of quotes.
All right, let's move on.
So that's for the action items. Moving forward, I need to schedule a meeting with Joseph and Raul to look at three things. I noticed in the inspection report, there's some boat dock issues that got brought up. So while we're out there doing the inspection, look at that. Number two, I'm gonna get the lady in the back of the room regarding the pond that she had referenced, because I wasn't here last meeting on which pond that was. We are gonna look at the control structures, the ones that are may or may not be compromised by the amount of vegetation that's blocking them, and then revisit some of the alleys for the next round of paving and or milling and resurfacing. And with that, I think that's all I have for tonight, unless y'all have any questions.
And any questions for David?
Okay.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
All right, next is district council. Katie Bellamy from district council on Zoom here.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Nice to see everybody. And we do have a couple of items for you. In your agenda package, you have a surplus property resolution. It's resolution 2024-04. And essentially, so Florida law provides avenues for CDDs to dispose of property that it determines that is no longer useful or it's obsolete. So essentially, all this resolution does is if the board adopts it, the board declares that these mules that are attached as exhibits are no longer useful, and it authorizes staff to go ahead and sell or donate the property.
Any questions about that or resolution?
I need that further explained, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So Florida law, it's statute 274.06. It's a statutory requirement that this is the avenue that a local unit of government has to go through in order to sell property. It's a little more than it's a little different than if you were just wanting to sell a bike. You wouldn't have to go through any process, but a CDD and a local unit of government does. And there's actually two different avenues, there's two different statutes, and I believe and what my understanding was is that the board asked us at a prior meeting, and I wasn't there, it was District Council Mike Eckert. There's actually two different statutes, 274.05 and 274.06. And the board requested using statute 274.06, which is what this resolution references. And it gives the board more leeway to donate to any person, to anybody. Statute 274.05, which is not in your agenda, if the board had chosen to only donate to another unit of government or a nonprofit agency, then we would have adopted a different resolution. So it's a little complicated, but it's something that the CDD has to go through in order to be in compliance with the law of just declaring that this property, it's in the best interest of the district. This property is no longer useful. It's not functional, and it's time to either sell or donate it. So it's just, and it's all papered and it's all within statutory requirements.
My understanding is, they're not with any useful life and, looking to repair or get other, use out of them. Joseph?
Yeah. Sorry, I don't think that you were here for that one.
No.
So there are mules that were used by district staff. They're now behind the containers that are past the garbage.
Yeah.
Where we store extra tools and things of that sort for the district. But these mules are in disarray. They're beyond repair. There's really no point in putting any money into them because it's just going to be
They're side by side. That's what they call mules.
Good.
Yeah.
I didn't know we were talking about mules. I didn't know
Sure.
what property we were talking about. So that was, thank you for.
So this in reference, this is district property, we would be, I guess in this, and Kate can clarify, we would be selling these properties to just get rid of them, make a little money extra for the
Understood.
district, and this is the surplus that's coming into the budget, correct?
Understood. Thank you.
Yeah, and just to let the supervisor know too, and just so you're aware, and so you can see what's being sold, if you go down to page 15 on your agenda, and it lists the way we set these resolutions up is so that it was very clear about what's being sold. So there's a description and there's pictures in this instance on page 15, 16, and 17 of the agenda. And so it's just very clear about what's being sold or donated.
These, I mean, you will move on, so they're just sitting in, filling up space.
Thank you.
Alright, so I will move to adopt resolution 2024-04 as described by district council.
I'll second.
Okay.
Sorry, who's second?
You can take.
You can pick one.
Second?
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I want to describe the next one.
Okay, so what the next resolution in your agenda is resolution 2025-05. And we're actually not asking the board to adopt this resolution tonight. We're asking the board to consider it. So it's our understanding that there have been businesses that have inquired about posting signage on the entrance towers. And so our office was asked to draft some policies. And this is what we've come up with, and we would like you to consider them, read through them, let us know what you think. And essentially it just lays out a process, a uniform process for consistency, that everyone who wants to place a sign, it goes through this process. Everything would be approved by your district manager before it would be put on, and then the business would enter into a license agreement with the CDD, which the form would be approved by our office. And so if you want to look through those and read through those and let us know what you think, and then you can give us any changes, any comments. The one thing that we would like the board to decide on tonight, if possible, if you go to page 19 of your agenda, on section 2F, there we have some fees there. So the CDD, anytime the CDD is establishing rates, the CDD has to go through a rulemaking process where we do a public notice. And so what we would do is that if we establish the rates tonight, and then we would go through the public notice, we would work with your district manager and then hold a public hearing, but the public hearing can just be in conjunction with the next board meeting. And then we could bring back and officially adopt the rates that the board had decided on tonight. And so what we're asking, we have here a fee that the business would pay to install, a fee of whatever you decide for every 2 years, and then a deposit. And that's to ensure the prompt removal of the signage. And so just to give some protection to the district.
Okay, thanks.
So,
So what are everyone's thoughts on this? This is it's been in germination for some time. The original discussion, I want to say, was well over a year ago. What are everyone's thoughts on if you got to look through, and specifically, just in general, are you repulsed by the idea? What's everyone's thought on it?
I think it's a great idea. I'm wondering, and this might have nothing to do with this, I've noticed some flags at the east entrance. Do we know who approved those? Are those like okay? Are they standard?
Well, that'd be a good question.
Is that during the market?
No,
No.
that's just
It's the
regular
dog.
flags that they put up the
Oh,
cafe.
it's for the retail.
Yeah.
Right, it's for the retail, and they're right outside of the gate of the main entrance on the side, on the other side.
So district management familiar with any of those signs?
Because I just started with this district, but I can find out and let you guys know, and then go from there.
I was just wondering if those have already gone through some sort of approval process, or did they just go out there and put those flags?
I would venture to say so.
I think they just put
I
them
would
up.
have brought the board to have them put up,
Okay.
but that was privy to me being here. I can find out from my.
They've
predecessor.
been up only, I think, maybe 4 weeks.
Oh, really?
And yeah, they're relatively new, if that, right? And, you know, if we're saying those signs or our tower, then definitely our tower, because those signs, in my opinion, look kind of tacky. So that's just my thought. I would much rather this.
Yeah. They don't match the aesthetic of the neighborhood. They're just out there flapping in the wind.
Right.
Well, and this'll establish also some uniformity, some structure in place and generate some revenue. So I'm in favor of it.
Okay, so to that end, I mean, I don't know if Fang has any better, market knowledge or anything, or wants to spitball numbers. I would, my thought would be to have, ask the district manager to just look at, do a quick survey of what, highway facing signage goes for. We're not trying to, we're not running a business here. We're not
Right.
trying, but we want to be fair and give an opportunity to our local businesses.
So I think there's, I'm not me cut you off if you're.
No,
There's two parts here. Do we want to do it, which I think the majority probably do, to make revenue, right? And then it's, what do we charge them? What's the format of their signs? We can't let them, make crazy colors and signs, right? And so, yeah, and so those are, I think, the two pieces that we need to answer. But I think the first one we need to answer at this meeting is, do we want to do it? And then we can figure out the cost and formatting and. Right.
So, I mean, my thoughts, and I haven't been able to pour through the text of the resolution in advance. My thoughts are, I mean, it seems like a good start, and if we have, specific feedback, whether it's, the aesthetics of it or whatever, the more practical thought again was a reasonable price point to come up
Right.
with, and
Sure, so then I would ask the board, do they want to vote on it now and then to put a revision done for the pricing afterwards? Once I get a little,
Yeah.
We think, is that okay? Kate, can we do that?
So, the board, you can absolutely do that, yes, Joseph, and if the board is not in a hurry to do that, because if we don't verbally establish the rate, at this meeting, we would have to announce it at the next meeting, which means that it would be a couple of months before this would actually be adopted. So if the board is not in a hurry and can wait, then that's completely fine. It would just delay it it would delay it 2 board meetings rather than being able to adopt the rate next board meeting.
I totally understand. You have no knowledge for me right now, in particular pricing for this.
Yeah.
We can just shoot out a number if you want, or I can get it.
So I think we would rely on you guys to go do some market analysis on what that price would be for fabricating that, and then what whatever every 2 years, the yearly rate would be for that. And the deposit, right?
Right, so it sounds like your general thoughts are, we at least want to consider, or continue with, consideration of the resolution, but we're not ready to put a dollar value on it right now.
Right.
So if that delays into another month, that's fine, let's, be deliberate in, setting a price for this.
I agree.
And we can bring this back on the next agenda, and it would give the board more time to review and make any changes that the board wanted, so.
Okay. Anything else, Kate?
Well, I do have something else. We've been working with Joseph, with your district manager and your chairman, Supervisor Leet, on just some questions about what some construction that's been going on around 5 Oaks Drive. I think the address is 7210 5 Oaks Drive, and there's some construction going on, so it raised some questions, and our office is looking into it. And that parcel of road, it's parcel U2, and it's CDD property. And there's a developer that is constructing a road on that property. And we have been researching this, and we don't have a full answer yet of whether or not the developer is allowed, through an easement, is allowed to construct a road on CDD property. The developer may be, and we're still looking into it. We would just like, there was last year, before I was on district council, there was some release of easements, meaning that the original developer had released his right to easements throughout the CDD. But there's just some questions and some property issues that we're looking into. So we just want to make the board aware that we are looking into it. We are aware of the issue, and just asking for the board's patience with us as we thoroughly review everything. And I just wanted to perhaps get the board's authorization to continue on with the research. And then if we find that if indeed the developer does not have a right to be on the easement, if the board so desires, and if it's something the board would want us to do, the board could authorize our office to write a demand letter to the developer, asking the developer, or telling the developer to stop construction. And that's only if we decide, if we determine that indeed the developer is not allowed to do that. And the reason I would suggest that is just so you wouldn't delay us taking any action until the next board meeting.
And to that point, the next board meeting, this is the early month for December, and then January is a 5 Thursday month. So the next meeting is 6 weeks away. So what Kate is talking about is they are, and this is something that Chairman Teresa Kramer worked on extensively in uncovering a lot of these property ownership issues and developer easements, maintenance easements, etc. So there's still District Council, Mike Ecker, is unfortunately out of the country right now. So he's kind of a linchpin with some of this coming to closure, I would say. Yeah, Kate explained it pretty well. I would move to have our District Council continue chasing down this issue, and should they deem it appropriate based on property ownership and easements that are in place on any of that property, to draft a letter of demands to the people that are constructing on property that potentially they aren't supposed to be.
So I would, David, you have something?
Well, I just wanted, because Kate, do you have an address of that parcel again?
Sure. Well, it's 7210 Five Oaks Drive. And then I can also send you like parcel ID numbers. And if you'd like, David, I can email them to you.
And I can pass you some notes as well. This was, I think they started with their site development plan in 21. So a lot of this has been in gestation for a while, and it came before the board in early 22. It's so this is just making sure we circle the wagons and we are fully understanding the issue before. But the motion that that is still open right now is to authorize council to draft that letter should they deem it appropriate.
So I would, I do want this to happen. I would approve it. I just want to make sure that we're in a short end of December and we're going into January, that we have some sort of answer at the next meeting, that we can understand what those circumstances are with the builder, and not still be researching or still trying to communicate with them and still going on for another month until we can kind of understand what's going on. So that's my only concern there.
Yeah, so, and I think the authorization, you can even expand it to write a demand letter and authorize district council and staff to take any actions necessary to resolve the YouTube parcel issue.
So there's a motion on the floor.
Brittany, you had something?
I just have one more question. Maybe Kate, from your experience, have you noticed, can you share, again, based on your experience, what is the likelihood that they do have permission to do this, or that they don't? Do you have any sort of even ballpark figures that you can share with us? Is it like a 50-50? Is it a complete toss-up? Is it like 25-75?
The only thing I can really say is that we have paperwork that indicates that they may have a right. And then we also have paperwork that indicates that they may not have a right. And so I couldn't give you like a ballpark figure until we knew a little bit more. And Mike Eckert too has more historical knowledge on the district as well. He's been with the district longer, and I think his input is going to be really important here as well. So we will definitely get on this and get back with you at the next board meeting. And then maybe if you want to authorize us to work with Dan if necessary, that might be good too. And then we could have, we could have a board member that we're working with as well if needed.
And I mean, I'll say publicly, I mean, we're under no illusions that we can stop that property from being developed to the extent that the county has already approved for that landowner. But if there is property that belongs to the CBD and it has value to them, then there should be something in it for us to cooperate and let them do their construction. So motion is still on the floor to allow the process to continue ahead of that next meeting, so that's 6 weeks from now.
I'll second your motion to let the district council go ahead and investigate this development.
Okay, and up to and including a demand letter, should they see that all of the pieces are in place from that?
Yep, that's
okay.
for that.
Any other discussion? How do we have a motion in second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much, Kate.
Thank you.
That is the working for district council. Next is the district manager.
Before I speak, I'd like to give an option for Kevin Strauss. I know that.
Yes, I see him on Zoom there, and I mean, not to steal your thunder, but we, have to go to proposal that we.
Yes, that's all in front of everyone here, just for reference. At this time, if that's okay with the board, I'll let Kevin just give an idea, or at least some more information for the board members and anyone else who needs a refresher.
Any specific questions? Yeah,
Yes.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Hey, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Cool, I'll just send a request for the screen share. Give me a sec for that one. And so in the room, there's, of the 5 folks on the board, there's 2 or 3 that haven't seen this yet, seen the demo at all.
There are 2 members there.
Excellent, excellent. Let's try the screen share here. There we go. All right, so yeah, it came up a number of times tonight, like of some good potential uses for it. It's a service request tracking system, and it really encapsulates both sides of the aisle, meaning like easier way for residents to not only report stuff digitally, but get real-time updates as you guys are working on it. And then just as valuable as a pretty robust like work tracking system on the staff side for various people, for you guys to track like really anything. And it could be like physical issues, like the grass isn't cut, there's a hole in the road, etc. But we also do like internal topics. Like I was kind of overhearing your discussion earlier about like the access cards. It's a great example. You could create a topic in the system that's internal, create tickets for those. So you have a list of the ones that are outstanding, how long they've been there, who's working on them, ping each other for updates. So what about the system that we're proposing can really be used to track almost anything that the district wants to track. And it's going to have kind of 3 main components to it. One is going to be a Harmony branded mobile app for residents to download. The second will be something to live in your website to put in requests. And then the last piece is the staff system for the work tracking. So this is, for example, the app we do for Celebration community in Florida. They call their app My Celebration. So we'd build you something similar, brand it for you, get you some graphics, fill it up with these buttons with like useful information, much of which is pulling from existing web content. For example, here when I click CROA, it takes me to the CROA website because they just felt like that's something that people would want to know about. So they went ahead and made that readily available. So you have all that. Then there's the start request. So instead of calling you guys or emailing you, I hit start request. I'm presented with types of issues that I can submit. These are defined by the district. We'll work with you to figure them out. So for example, I want to send in tall grass. It says, do you have any pictures? I could say no. I could open my camera and take a few. Or sometimes we see people, for the most part, have already taken them. So they upload them from their camera roll, and then what the app will do is pull the location coordinates right off the photo and go, that's where this issue is located. So when the staff get it, they get an exact location. And then if I needed to change it or modify it, or my photo didn't have the attachments, I could use this map and type in the address or drag and drop the pin. We could even do a boundary for you around the district, so you can only take in requests from within the geographical area that you're actually responsible for servicing. In terms of what else they fill out, that's up to you and done on a per topic basis. Like what I ask and require of someone to report tall grass might be different than what we ask and require of them to tell us that there's an overflowing trash can in the pool area, right? So like every topic gets all of its own settings. Do you require a photo? Do you need their contact info? Can they remain anonymous? Is there a location, a description? Do we ask them custom questions? All these things will be worked out on a per topic basis. And then I hit submit and it thanks you for my submission. It also, as a resident, lets me know I could track the status of my request using this track request button. So this is just a list of all the things that I've personally submitted. Here's my tall grass complaint currently in an open status. I'll get through this in the next 5 minutes. We'll see this get adjusted and changed as we work it to completion on the staff side. The second piece will just live on y'all's site. So somewhere on here, you have like services, report an issue or something. And when clicked on, we'll stay on your site, but instead of seeing like this type of text here, we'll give you something that looks more like this. The standard website insert called an iframe. And its whole purpose is just to provide residents a way through your site to submit issues, because the app is cool, but should never be a requirement. Most requested down the right-hand side. This is also searchable by keyword, and allows me to quickly and easily go ahead and put a request in. Would look something like this. Very similar to what we did on the phone. It's like optimized for folks using the browser. Drag and drop the pin, type in my description, photos, boom. Then the way we set this up is that when we define the types of things that could be routed, we've also predetermined who they go to. And like as a staff member, I would know I have something new to work on because I get this email that tells me, here it is, hey, you've been assigned a new request, and it tells me a bit about it. And then always has a link that lets me get in here. And when I click that, it would take me right into the record on the staff software. So it's a fully web-based system. It's so easy to use. There's only really 2 screens for each person to learn. One is a list of issues that are basically within your purview. It's a rights or permissions-based software, so we could segment what the different users can access for agency security, as well as just to make it easier to use for the residents. Everything has due dates based on service goals. We do reminder emails as they're coming due, even build out escalations as they go overdue. And then you got your detail of the ticket. We track like full resident service history, so you could see as a district all the interactions you had with this resident, a service history for the location, so all the other fixes and work and issues you've had at that location. And then we could do things like create all these different statuses for you and make it so like, hey, if I set it to a certain status, for example, I have a status of scheduled and save it, I want to have a little update, go back out to the resident that reported it to us via push alert or email. And then here's a little updated screen, tag of scheduled, and then a nice customized message at the bottom that accurately relays to me as the resident where y'all are at in the process with fixing this. And then you have other stuff as well, like the ability to message the resident through here. I can collaborate with staff through here. So I had a question for an employee, like as a board member, you might see one that's overdue and your resident called you about it. You can just sign in and say, hey, Kev, like what's going on with this one? And then go ahead and just type that message. I'll get alerted. All of our convo is automatically threaded right here on the work ticket. And then eventually you'll be done working on your items. There's a section called reason closed, and a text to go to the resident to tell them why this is closed out. And you could freeform type, ones for each reply if you want, but you also can create these canned responses so you can move a little quicker. We have ones that are more general, ones that are more topic specific, and it allows you to put that in. It'll not only close the item out on the staff side, but closes the loop with the resident. Hey, the issue you submitted about the tall grass has been closed, and then a nice little summary for me as the reporting party as to why this is the case. So that's like a quick high level average flow. Like I was saying, we also have the idea though of like these internal topics. So like if you don't necessarily want to take in a request to our system for like those cards as an example, you could create an internal topic that only staff can see and submit. And every time you get one of those, create a little ticket for it. Maybe you don't need an address field, but we have some custom field work that we'll do for you here. And then whoever manages that has a nice little dashboard view. We'll create a little filter and they'll be like, oh, I just want to see all my this issue type. And these are like all the outstanding cards that need to be issued and how overdue they are compared to how long we thought it should take. So just like a really an exponential amount of uses here. And then the other big benefit y'all will get out of this is the reporting. Once you're putting everything in one centralized place, you can use the reporting tool to pull data out of here. So things like open versus closed by month, or which departments are sitting on all the open requests right now? What types of requests are those? Or you maybe just want to do a custom report and you're like, you know what, we're curious. What were all the road repairs we've done this year? Maybe we're trying to budget for next year and get an idea of a baseline. So I'll say, show me all the items we worked on in the system that we would consider like a road and streets repair. I have 68 items that fit that criteria. Any report could be saved so you could use it again. These could all be scheduled. Hey, deliver this to my inbox with some frequency. These could all be exported to Excel, or because a lot of the stuff that you'll get through here is very location based. Show me this report represented visually with a pin marker. So here's geographically where they were. So for like a road repair, maybe I'm looking at these areas a little more closely because these are where, you know, we've had, you know, clusters of activity, right? A lot of fix and patchwork. Maybe they should be higher on a repave. So just a good side benefit of the whole thing is the ability to do that. And then the last thing to mention, I believe in the proposal, yes, is also once people have the app, you'll be able to deliver them mass messaging for different stuff going on. So if you wanted to announce, hey, there's a road closure, we're having an event, or you know, really anything, Christmas tree lighting, or tax bills are due, or whatever it happens to be, you'll be able to write up content. It goes out in a mass push alert. So these on my screen are real customers, things sent within the last 40 minutes. Road closure, alternate side parking, 2024 year in review, trash pickup delays, over in Sun and Lake Improvement District in Florida, who's a customer of ours. A lot of events going on in the last couple of days that they've gone on here. Board of Supervisors meeting announcements. So it allows you to basically write up a message and push it out in bulk via push alert, email, and then if you guys use like any of your social media pages, to share it there as well. So that to me is how you'll market the app to the residents. It's like, hey, take a few seconds, go download our new app. Number one, useful information at your fingertips with the button. Number two, easily report problems and concerns and get updates on them. And number three, receive mass alerts and updates for different things going on in the community. So try to condense that for you guys. I'll open up for any questions that you might have.
Brittany, yes.
So I'm gonna start with saying that I think that this is a great idea, and I think that, it has the potential to streamline a lot of stuff, you know, issues that we're currently dealing with. I do have some concerns. The first is probably gonna be the most obvious, cost versus benefit. We discussed the initial costs in the proposal, it's almost right around $14,000. But we also discussed, just to clear for you, Mary Jane, that for 2025, that admin would be covered, but moving into 2026, we would have to absorb the cost of an admin. So, and then we sort of threw around ballpark figures of what a salary of an admin might look like. So while the initial investment is $14,000, by 2026, we're looking to a lot closer, like $70,000. And when we're looking at, you know,
Hold on, have we been quoted that number or?
yeah, they threw out between $40,000 and $60,000 right now.
That's probably overstating because that full-time person is also doing that for celebration as well. Is that correct?
Right.
That's not, I thought, okay,
That's
maybe,
not
then
what
let's
they-
get that cleared up, because I thought in the last meeting, they said, for 2025, that admin can do sort of both, but moving into 2026, we need our own.
We'd have to get our own admin.
But they didn't say it was a full timer.
They quoted 40 to 60,000.
Yes.
But
Stress that.
Karen, yeah.
they did say that.
Let's hear from him.
Yeah, so I think the conversation we had internally, and I can't remember what was discussed a couple of months ago, but that is not a full-time job, managing GoGo. Even in our office, I just counted, we got 29 work orders today. I have it up running on my laptop right now. So it's a very gradual increase here. You're not near the size that Celebration is. You can have, we took another employee, one, because we think you need more staff there beyond the goal. Regardless of GoGo event, we had felt you need more staff. So we're in the process of hiring that person. That person could take on some of these responsibilities as a small portion of their job. But it is not for this community, there's no way.
Okay, but again, just to be clear, at our last meeting, it was said that for 2025, we won't incur an additional cost. But moving into 2026, we will. The number that was thrown out was between $40,000 and $60,000. Can you give us then, if that number is not accurate, can you give us another number of what that might look like?
So I think that position we're talking about, regardless of whether you go with GoGov or not, you really need another person.
Nothing to do with the GoGov is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's an independent
That's
issue.
right.
I told us last week during the discussion of GoGov that they were in the process of bringing someone else on, and that's not being added to our management fee right now. But when it would be renewed independent of, going to GoGov, there would then be this other person that's now dedicated to our community. Possibly for administering a system like this, but with other tasks as well.
Okay.
So I really think what this improves and makes more efficient is right now, the process is the Infomark gets a mass email to whatever, 6, 7 guys, and they have to figure out which guy is gonna do it. Instead of this way, it's directed to one person and then it's routed out to the person that has the expertise to go and tackle that task, right? And so it's way more efficient. I mean, I've already speaked about how I'm pro for this and everything, but
I have a couple more.
Yes.
Yeah, so-
It's time, so.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be quick here. So the other thing is that Celebration, obviously a much larger community, but you guys also let us know that only 600 people from Celebration have signed up. That's less than 5%. So I think it's like 3.5. So for a much smaller community like ours, it does raise some serious concerns about ROI.
May I comment
so
on that
that's-
one? May I comment on that one, ma'am, before you go to the next one? A totally logical thought where that comes from. I always like to emphasize on this product. This is for everyone I speak to around the country, every size city and community. The value of the software is not only represented in the number of app downloads. Actually, in my opinion, the real value of the software is the operational efficiency on the staff side. And what I say that, what I mean is, well, if say they had 600 folks that opted to decide to download the app, every call with an issue, every email with an issue is getting forwarded and funneled into the system for the tracking and management. So I just feel like for any CRM system, whether it's GoGovs or not, like that's just the method by which the community prefers to put the items in. The number to look at to me is how many issues have they managed through the system, how have their response time changed, et cetera, et cetera. So just something to consider that while of course we want to help you get as many app downloads as possible, the real value in terms of an ROI is not on residents having an app on their phone and not making a phone call. It's the streamlining of the staff time who are salaried employees and you want to make the most of those salaried hours. So just some food for thought on the downloads aspect. But as a company, we want you to get as many downloads as we can, of course.
I would also say that on top of that is that currently we have no record history of what tasks have been managed, what maintenance have been managed, besides going back and looking at emails, you know, through the last 10 years, which I don't even know if we have. I mean, you guys could go research that.
Even if you did, it's not an
This is
efficient way
a
to do it. Take a couple days,
government,
yeah.
Regulated application for maintaining all those.
Comment on ended users. So this was a very slow implementation. We probably had it internally for a few months before we said, okay, please start using it. We're almost a year in. We don't take emails and phone calls anymore. If you called in and said, get ammo on this, can you put an app into the work order so we can get it signed?
So what about the 97% of residents who aren't on the app?
Yeah.
Not everybody reports everything. I mean,
Well,
you,
yeah, but more than 3% of people are.
well, there's, right, there's a 5%, but okay. Right.
Now there's the email address and that's about it. So there would still be a, I believe Kevin, there's still a email option for sending.
Oh yeah, you could, if someone emailed you, we'll give you an address, you forward it over, it'll consume the email, parse out the description, grab photo attachments, give it a default topic and assign it to someone as a trackable ticket.
That's cool. I like that. But all that to say, that's bring me to my next point, which is accountability. And right now, you know, those emails come in, I think they go to Raul, is that right?
Yes.
Initially, and then he kind of reroutes them. So the app doesn't change that because from our last discussion, Raul would still be the admin here, right? So the methodology is all that's changing. It's still going to Raul and to delegate. So there's really no guarantee of improved response times or.
I disagree. I'll
Okay.
tell you why.
If-
It's based off before with no accountability for a system in place to track this. This would in fact do that.
Okay, so then I guess my last point is gonna be the responsibility of this, because I think this is a great app. I think this is a great system, and it's gonna really make sure for some accountability. My issue more is that, and you know, I might be the bad guy here for saying this, but it really seems like a system to streamline to manage our management company's processes.
Yeah.
And so the residents of Harmony absorbing the cost is a little bit too difficult for me to come to terms with, because I'll just say, you know, very unofficially, I polled 280 residents of Harmony, and 65% of them said no. And an 11% said only if Infomark is gonna absorb this cost, because essentially, I think, you know, responsibility, accountability, all these things that we're looking at, which is why I kind of asked earlier, when we have a system in place, it sort of seems like this is a system to streamline your operations, which is where my greatest concern is.
You can't,
So I can, to touch real quick on that, so whether or not you decide, or actually, no, if you decide not to go with them, we can implement something, so I've implemented with Raul already, something for just for an example, the maintenance for the boats. We have a log in place. If there's something like that that you would prefer that we can, of course, do, I can get with Raul, we can create something, have it updated weekly with all of our staff members and what information they can input, and then I can have Raul just input it into the system and then send it off to you along with the project boards every week or 2 weeks, however the board wants to get it done. That's something we can do. Although I don't think it's going to be as streamlined or as well maintained as an application like this. And I say that because we won't necessarily be able to, one, get correct geolocations like the app can. We won't be able to get pictures where the app can. It's gonna be a little chaotic in the beginning. Of course, eventually with, you know, streaming out and getting it underway, it'll be better. But I think in the long run, this is, I mean, I get what your reasoning is, cost versus what exactly it's going to be used for in terms of, you know, I'm reading from our side, but I think it's entirely up to you guys, but
Because Dan, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think from our website, if a resident goes on the website to basically submit a ticket or something, that if you go on from your phone, it will geotag from your phone if you have location.
It would be that if you attach a picture, and that would be the full picture that your camera took, not a screenshot of something, and you email that complete picture to the email address, then yes, they would be able to pull where it was taken. If you're,
I do have one, real quick. Was this the only app that, I'm sorry, is this the only app that you guys sought out? I'm with her, the costs, I just can't justify the cost. Like, are there other apps that are just as reliable that may cost less?
item 5A on our agenda.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Do we have any other specific questions for Evan regarding the?
Yeah.
Julie, go ahead.
Joe.
Sorry, go. Sorry.
And I think I asked this once before, but I'm not sure that I remember the answer. So if Mr. Green reports that there's a water leak on by his house, you know, but and then Mr. Brown wants to report it, can Mr. Brown say that Mr. Green already reported it?
I believe that was answered, no.
Yeah, okay, that's what I was thinking.
The district management and field services would have visibility of the tickets and everything, but it's.
Right,
Would you be able to see your own, Kevin? You'd be able to see.
You could see your own, but like, say you and I are neighbors, sir, and you report my grass, I would have no idea it was you. I can only see if I reported your grass. And so we take, man, what we call a one-to-one approach, the requester and the agency, which in this case is Harmony. One-to-one, that's the visibility, no broadcasting.
And would we be able to see it?
Yes,
Or is it
yes.
just?
Yeah. And it was a point I was going to make to the other ma'am's question before, and these two things to me go together. You're like, well, like, don't you have something you could do? These things are niche design, like our software is niche designed for community management. We have 500 municipal customers, you know, there's other companies that do something similar, right? So like, there's an industry for a reason, like in terms of like justifying a cost. I do feel if it wasn't valuable, we only do a 1-year commitment at a time. People would use it for a year and get rid of it. And then related to the, I just lost my train of thought fully. We were talking about the resident could see reporting. You know, I'm gonna have to come back to it. I totally just drew a blank mid-sentence. I'm sorry about that. But you did say something earlier, I didn't want to interrupt. But ma'am, it's a one-to-one approach, no broadcasting of it. All just for like, I can see if I communicated with you, but I can't see the conversation you had, you know, with my coworker Daryl. You know what I'm saying? With the other resident Daryl. It's very one-to-one.
Other question is, so I see your price here now, would be $13,860. What was the price last year and the year before?
Oh, the same. That's the list pricing, and our pricing is scales up and down based on agency size. So there's not just like the pricing, ma'am. Our list pricing hasn't changed in a number of years, maybe 8 or 9. So, and it's a tiered pricing. So like, it's based on agency size. For example, if City of Orlando came to us, like they're gonna get charged like 70,000. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's proportionate to agency size.
Right. So this isn't a teaser rate.
No,
Okay,
ma'am.
thank you.
yes, ma'am.
And, since we're Kevin, and focusing on GoGov.
No.
Yes, two quick comments, two benefits that the workforce system, the messaging. We send messages to almost daily. So tomorrow we're starting a roofing project on our administration building. Everybody comes in, pays their water bill. We send a message out today. We start construction on this building tomorrow, parking may be impacted, send a photo out, alternative places to park. Yeah, there's the reporting structure. You have a pothole. Not everybody knows that we don't maintain that road, that's the county. But we are getting a crosswalk put in because we've had so many complaints. We go to the county and say, we had 35 complaints because we don't have a crosswalk, we're endangering kids. So by using that reporting structure and some of what is in there, it's kind of beyond the work order. Okay. All right, sounds very good, Kevin. Do you have any other final words for us?
Call or email me anytime. You guys know where to find me. Anytime, email me. I'll get right back to you. And thank you so much for the opportunity. Appreciate it. Have a good evening.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you. Yep.
Finish up on the district manager report.
Yeah, just so everyone's aware, our next meeting will be held January 30th, 2025 at 6 p.m. Just to touch base on something that had happened before I got on. The commercial parking signs, we are still waiting for the county to get back to us.
The what signs?
The commercial parking signs. So we are still waiting for the county to get back to us. There's been no response. I'm thinking, and of course, with direction from the board, I'm thinking I will wait attention of a week or two before I reach out to them again and just see where we're at with submitting or resubmitting to try and get this at the top of their file. It's entirely up to you. If not, I can follow up with it within this upcoming week.
Yeah,
Sounds good to me. Maybe not to.
Okay.
but they're not enforceable, right? I mean,
Next item that I have is the shed. Joel, the contractor, is still in the process of getting the permit. He hasn't gotten fully an update on when this will happen. They haven't provided it yet to him, or a date as to when he will get it. Once it is issued to him, he will have everything ordered in place, between manufacturing and installation, we're looking at 2 to 3 weeks.
what was the shed for?
The garden.
Oh, the garden shed.
It's been going on for what, a year now or more?
The garden shed where we have it located. My name is Marilyn Ashmore and I work in the garden. Sure. The trucks going in and around and out have destroyed all the grass and the sand was very loose. You can't even run a wheelbarrow through it without getting stuck. So my question is, should we put down a base of gravel or stone or something before you put that shed in that sand? I'm asking. Sure.
This is something that we can look into. I don't know what the cost is gonna be like to get this done in order to, level it out so it's easier. I can get with my team to find out and then bring it forward to the board so that they can vote on it.
I can relocate it if that's if you can't do that or it's gonna cost anyone.
Sure. I mean, I can look into options. And then-
That's more permitting, that's right.
Sure.
Right.
So, sorry, Joseph, I'm sorry to interrupt. Please. 3 months ago, I reached out to the county engineer. And they assured me, they're promising me that this guy would be allowed to bypass what he's going through. So please have Joel call me with Falcon, I think it is.
Yep.
Yep, because this was not supposed to take place. I got an email chain from the county engineer stating so. So if it went back to development services and they're not talking internally.
Yep.
Yeah, so.
All right, I'll get with them.
Thank you.
And then to touch base on the project board, I'll be working on them. Now, just to clarify, would the board like a project board every 2 weeks, every month? How would you like this to be done?
Where would it?
Can you just, quickly explain what the project board is, what their responsibilities are?
So essentially, it's ongoing projects within the district, let you know the progress, what vendors have come back with, anything that needs to be sent into the agenda for the following meeting, any pricing, things of that sort, any update essentially on ongoing projects.
Just like a physical project board?
Yeah, so it's like an Excel sheet that we create,
Oh, okay.
with individual projects, by
Okay.
date or by topic. And then we would just give you an update on ongoing completion. There's several tabs, one for open, projects, one for, completed projects for
Okay.
history or reference, things like that.
Okay.
Sure.
Well, it's kind of like what's in our agenda packet, you know, with photos of things that need
Yeah.
to be taken care of, but. Here's a sample of one if you'd like to look at it. This is one we got in August.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, that's essentially how we do it. We do like an Excel and then we submit to PDF and then forward it out to the board members.
Okay.
And just depending on consistency, how long you guys would want in between, I can do every 2 weeks, every month, if that helps, given the factor of ongoing projects and then updates on specific vendors, because we will know that sometimes vendors take a while to get back. That's also how the.
Can we also put this on our website?
I can find out. I don't know if this would, I don't think it would have any issues, actually. So yeah, I think it would be
I
fine.
mean, I think people in the community might, like someone comes in and has an issue, they can refer to that to see if the phone call's been made and, you know, oh, we're ordering parts, and so that would be helpful.
Just like the most recent, so, I'm trying to create a whole bunch of other stuff people look through. To me, it makes sense to have something like that, kind of centered around the meeting timing. So if the agenda is being set 1 week before the meeting, I want the project board to maybe be a week ahead of that, so we have time to look at it, react, and get any changes of, other things we want to be considered for that meeting agenda.
So essentially a month or every 2 weeks?
I like 2 weeks, and well, maybe bi-monthly to go, and again, based on just before the agenda is set, and then maybe a week after the meeting, just taking into account any decisions that were made.
Like a general update of what's, okay.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Joe, to touch base, what I will do is I will speak with my team and see if that's okay to put it on there. I don't want to say yes right now, mess up that.
Yes, and then we'll talk about whether we want to renew that website vendor.
For sure, yes, and then what I will do is I'll send it to you, you'll answer.
Okay, very good.
Anything else, Joseph?
That is all I have.
Okay. Next, I'd like to welcome Mr. Mark Anthony's longtime resident in the agenda. We have a proposal for basically another option for all Siri tomorrow.
That's okay, you do great. My name is Mark Hattonese. I am a longtime resident of Harmony. Years ago, actually under Starwood at the time, my company was approached and we approached Starwood to build the boat reservation app. We approached them with a whole host of apps. They ended up wanting to do the boat reservation app as a proof of concept. The way my company does business, mostly with municipalities, mostly in the north, is we build on a platform, and that platform allows us to customize many apps that the municipality entity would need. So at the time, Starwood couldn't find anything to do boat reservations the way they wanted to. We said, that's a good one to start with. We built that out. Starwood then faded out of the picture and CBV took over. At the time, we had a proposal to do several apps. I don't remember them all the time. Issue reporting was one of them. Facility reservations was another one. They didn't want to do anything at the time. We said, well, let you keep using the boat reservation app with the, with the ability that if the CDD was looking for a new app, they would let us present to them. So 10 years later, thank you for presenting our apps. But our concept is you can go as complex with the apps as you want or as simple as you want. the boat reservation was extremely complex when Starwood designed it. It started at half hour after sunset, stopped reservations at a half hour before sunset, and tracked those times daily. Nightmare for field services. So we changed it, we modified it, we did all these things. They had the concept of actually using the weather vane out there to say it's too windy, you automatically cancel the reservations. Very, very complex. Great in theory, terrible in reality. You know, again, you need somebody to manage it, somebody to go into the system, do all that. So now you probably aren't aware because the boat reservation app is very simple. Resident goes on, reserves their boat. The email goes out daily through the system to field services. Field services goes with the list and just gives everybody the boats they want, or goes into the system, cancels the reservations. Very, very low maintenance, but has the potential to do a lot more if needed. If not needed, they just use it the way it's needed. So that's the way we present all our apps, and that's what, listening today, you can do with this issue reporting. It can be very complex, like you saw. It can do all those things where it can send out messaging, it can create work orders, it can you can issue it, and I can show you examples because we have this in our municipalities. You can issue it to different people. I think something Harmony would want is to say, okay, this is not CDD, this is HOA, this is county, this is whoever. You can build stuff like that into a system and it will automatically route, or allow somebody, field services to route that to whoever it wants. They want. Create pretty much any report you need. I think you still get the daily or the monthly reports from the boat usage, things like that. You can customize reports to have nice charts and graphs and things like that if you want to. Usually, honestly, towns don't want to. They just want the data. The system can, similar to the boat reservation app, I kind of conceive that you may want it simple like that. Resident goes in, puts in an issue, it goes to field services. Field services can determine who works on what, and then once they close out that issue, resident can get notified. They can put in pictures and make it more complex, or they just get notified this has been taken care of. Do a report at the end of the month, bring it to the board meeting. If you want, again, I can jump on here and can I share my screen for that?
If you can come on to the Zoom meeting, then yes.
Yep, I'm on it. Okay. Small, sorry. So this is Township of Ocean in New Jersey. Basically, these are.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I messed it up. I'm back.
So this is a township in New Jersey. Basically, these are, they call them complaints, issues, whatever you want to title it. These are all the ones that have come in. This is a township of about 80,000 residents. This complaint will contain everything that the resident has either reported from the website. They've located it on the map. See here, the Google map comes up, that's where it's located, it tracks the Latin Lounge. They've put in what the issue is, and then there's the township, in this case, their staff has put in an action on what they did, and it looks like this one in particular, I'm not gonna read it, but it looks like this one was closed out. No, I'm sorry, they referred this over to their code enforcement department, right? So that's what they're doing. It's not our job here in the clerk's office or whoever is running the system, and they refer it over to a different department. That's what I mean. You may have to refer these to HOA or county or whoever. Most of these will come in, the system will automatically send an email to the different parties involved from the resident, thanking them for, notifying them of the issue to whoever is involved. So they can go in here, they can assign it to somebody, they can refer it to another department. One of the strengths, and again, you can probably do this in any of the systems, and I think I heard GoGov mention this, is to put in some sort of categories and subcategories. So it could be a street issue, it could be a maintenance issue, it could be a property management issue, whatever it might be. And then you have subcategories under there. That helps a lot in reporting. That'll let you get your precise reports. Another thing that helps the reporting is for the system to automatically track the dates and times, so you can see how long from notification to completion these things took. One of the things that we do, so we build it again, like we build this all in the portal, we have different apps. Everything runs within the same system. So that means all of these apps are able to share data. So for instance, Harmony, if you're using the boat reservation, all those users automatically have access to the issue reporting. They don't have to set up a new account. They don't have to remember. A lot of our towns leave it open. I don't know if you would want to leave it open, but they allow anonymous reporting. I think this is in New Jersey. I think it's Jersey law. They have to. You don't have to, but that's an option. But since it does share data, I can log into my account. I can see my boat reservations. I can see the issues I've reported. Everything's in one spot. The other app we put on the proposal is, because we had talked about it originally with Starwood, is a facilities reservation. Same type of thing. You would have all your facilities, allow people to go, reserve the pool area or a park area or something. Again, it's all under the existing accounts. People could create the accounts, reserve the areas, everything's under one. Everything else applies where we can customize it, we can build the systems into it. I didn't mention, we don't generally do an app to download. We basically do everything in HTML5, which can be formatted for the small screens. That means people don't have to download an app, but you can just access, you can either save it as a shortcut if you want, or you can just access it through the website and you have full functionality of the maps and everything else on small screen formatted. I know I went through all that kind of quickly, but do you have any questions or anything else I can show you?
Joe?
What town is Ocean Township?
It's Ocean Township, New Jersey.
Yeah, but where is it?
It's in Monmouth County. It's
Oh,
along-
I saw the Middletown.
Oh, okay, right south of you.
Anton River. So,
Yeah.
So it sounded familiar.
Yeah.
It sounded like you answered most of my question, was just what's the resident facing portion of it. So sounds like we could have something added to the website similar to with GoGov. Probably could have links maybe put on Facebook groups or something like, hey, click this link, takes you to this website, and you're able to submit issues. You mentioned something like setting up accounts or something like that. I mean, what's that little warm fuzzies in my way? Like that sounds like a complication. What's the story?
Just what's being done now with the boat reservations, same thing. Or we would use those existing ones to start if you wanted us to. I mean, I imagine it's the same people.
Like a username and password.
Yeah. Also, along with that, with the website, what we didn't do with the boat reservation system and can be done still, is what he mentioned is iframing it into the site. It just looks nicer. It's a simple way to do it, but it looks a lot better on the website.
Mm-hmm. All right, I have a question.
Yeah.
Given this new software, would, for example, like Raul, one of the leaders for field staff, would he be able to have managing or supervisory access to decline, accept, make notations, things of that sort in the system? Because I know currently now, and correct me if I'm wrong, Raul, your access is very limited.
Yes, it's just, I can cancel, I can approve, I can make a reservation, but other than that, let's say we have a vote that is down, like, there's no way that I can input that information, like, the way we can avoid the rest of the reservation. This is missing, because nobody made it, it's down, for example.
Okay, yeah, you actually can do that now. I can show you how to do that. But yeah, you would have full access, or this is all role-based system, so not only could he or, whoever you want have full access, but others, you might have the board have limited access, so they could go in and view everything, create their own custom reports if wanted. And then you may have other people, you could have staff members. What we call the public facing view of this, we call it a portal. And it's a little bit different, a lot less complex than the actual logged in system screen. We could also make portals for field staff, and we've done that in a couple of towns where they could get their work orders right through here. And then just, click off, yeah, this is taken care of, that's taken care of, and in turn, it, does close out that request, and then the system can automatically email whoever made the request. One of the other things, the system can merge, so if you get duplicate requests, you could merge them into one, or you can have a workflow action that just says this is a duplicate request, and then the system would know, once you close the one, email everybody who made that request and just say, yeah, that issue's been closed down.
Have you seen software being used not just for the boat reservation, but let's say, for example, an amenities reservation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Does each category have a population frame or screen that helps the residents populate what you need to run the software, or is it just a big open format that just type free? Like if it's.
There are fields to fill out?
Yeah, it feels like you do.
Yeah, if you have a, like, I can't really say this, so it'd be a standard form, I think. I don't know if you can see it better on the screen. So if we're doing a new complaint, or in this case, issue, this has property owner for the town, but if you have a login, it will fill that in for you. So it'll put Mark Catanese and my address and everything in there, as the person reporting the issue, and then you would go down and either put in a location, very bad, or in this case, so what Ocean Township does here. Here, location type, so they do it either per address, it may be on a roadway. If I choose address, it allows me to look up a property address. And I would select that property address. 7 Pine Lane, and it'll fill all that information in for me. It'll also find it on the map down there, if you can see that. If I were to choose, this is a roadway issue, so it'll get rid of that and it'll say, tell me what roadway it is, and I'll link it to a roadway. And then I'm gonna link it to, Abbey Lane. I can say it's an intersection, I would type in the intersection. I would say, I just want to choose it off the map, and it'll give me let me choose it. Again, we can do that in the One for Harmony. You probably don't need that complexity, so you may not want to do that. The residents, just pick a point on the map and, let it be what it is. Or, as you said, you can pull it off a photo. This does do that as well. You can add as many photos as you want. It can be saved from the system. You can also add documents. It doesn't have to be a photo. You want to, add a document up, you can put in any document. And the same with field services, they could put in documents to it. If an issue needed an estimate from a different contractor, you may want to store that document with it. That type of thing. They can also put in photos themselves.
And for comparison, our system right now, it's just a blank email, so it's already, whatever the user is able to populate, so. You can see some use of, landscaping issues, what some of the broad categories are, maybe make it a little easier on residents, but, and then you also mentioned the anonymous reporting. That sounds like there, whether it's through that method, or clearly a way to just send an email at this address and that kicks off the process.
Well, it just doesn't require a login to, you go on the website, click the link and just put it in. What it does do though, is it does captures the IP address of where they put that in. So what that allows you to do, if you start getting a lot of things spamming your system, you can block that IP address and they can't submit from there.
So the difference between this system and the GoGov is that their system doesn't do reservations, and this does. And their system does do community notifications for anybody who downloads the app, and yours doesn't. Is that correct?
Yeah, it could. We could do notifications. This will send out emails. So if you just want to send out a blast to everybody who has an account, you can do that.
But we don't have any email.
Well, they're in on the account. So like so like you can do that with the boat reservation system now.
They have to be registered users and now we get it.
Yeah, you have that.
All right,
Never go up because I get celebration, I get all notifications about it.
How do you get it?
Through the app. I wanted to test it when I heard about GoGov.
How
So
do
I
they have
downloaded it.
How do they have your email?
It doesn't come as
It
a.
doesn't come.
Oh, I got you.
It just pushes it out, so I get out when their roads are closed or when they're kind of.
So
Okay.
if other people will be getting like our internal blast, anybody could just go on and get our internal blast?
Well, so right now, like if you have a account made for reserve the boats, you get an email, like based on, your reservation's been accepted or something like that, and it's that same mechanism that could be used for, okay, well, everyone that has an account for reserving or for reporting issues, everyone that has an account, then we send a message to those people, so it's different from here's the Harmony app that you download and email or not, you're now getting the Harmony notifications for stuff. So it'll be a different mechanism. It's different.
No, but I'm wondering with the GoGov app then.
Yeah.
Could people from outside of Harmony, not registered users then, is that an option to configure that anyone can see?
That might be a Kevin question. He did say you could geofence the issue
Okay.
reporting issues, so we could report, our pothole here that they would respond to.
Gotcha.
The app of celebrations, the notifications come to anyone that downloads it.
Yeah.
But if you report an issue, you have to be registered.
Right, I didn't register. All I did is we were at the meeting and we wanted to see what it was like.
Understood, okay. Perfect, thank you.
Okay. We have any other questions for Mark?
Yeah, just one thing too, just to back up on what Carol said before, it's not, these are separate apps within the one system. So the boat reservation is its own app, issue reporting its own app. If we did a facilities reservation, that would be its own app. It's not like you're kind of changing the one to do multiple things. They all, live together in one system. But we're not modifying the one to do things it's not, supposed to do. So just to make that clear, you can have different people, if you were to have someone manage the boats and someone else manage issues, you can do that as well. It also leads, because it is this open platform, if anything was needed in the future, that can be added on. So if you wanted, a card request system, that could be added onto it, again, using that same pool of users. If you needed something else down the line, initially Starwood wanted something to manage the pool maintenance schedules, things like that. That's the type of thing that could be added to the whole system.
So quick question about that. So the flat rate that you quoted us, assuming that we're going to need to add things or modify things, that software development that you guys are going to need to do, is that incorporated in the price or is that additional cost to us?
That would be additional based on the app.
Okay.
So, for instance, the way we structure our pricing generally is it's a lower price if we've built it already and it exists somewhere else. We have close to 100 apps, you know, throughout all of the towns that we have. But if you were to do this pool thing, we haven't done that before. We'd have to build that, so that it would probably come at a higher price.
Okay, it's kind of spoken to before, question would be for, Infomark. I know I got an email maybe in the last month or so, you know, trying to get in contact with Mark for the administration of the vote. It sounds like maybe we don't have that much experience on the management side of the vote reservation thing to have feedback to offer.
Correct, yeah.
Okay, I mean, it sounds like there's, you know, capabilities there, as far as, you know, bringing a vote down for maintenance or something like that. It sounds like the capabilities are all there in the system. It's just a matter of training, you know, getting
Yeah, managerial control is really where we're at. That's where we need that. And Mark said there's a way to do that, which is great. That we should have dictated all the stuff to do that. So that would help.
Okay. Any other questions for, I guess, from Infomark? I mean, this was obviously, that's the.
Yeah, I have a quick question for you. So it's role based. So can I take it this one? I got an irrigation issue. Can I take Nick Lemansky as the contact? That gets put in. Raul gets that, or whoever's the admin for that. Can the email all be generated to Nick Lemansky? So
Yeah, so if you have like a set of rules that, you know, a certain category, anything irrigation goes to this person, anything street related goes to that person, yeah.
So one thing, you know, I'm an engineer, but one thing I'm seeing, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is your apps are developed based on the needs of the community instead of the GoGov app is a one-stop shop that has kind of all the needs and applications involved in that. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but
No, exactly, that's it. That's it.
Okay.
We are, we build the apps, usually, one of our clients comes to us and says, this is what we need, build it for us. We build it for them. We, you know, in talking to a lot of our other clients, we say, oh, you need that, we have something like that.
Gotcha.
For instance, we have been using the boat reservation system to market other things. No one else has done a boat reservation system, but they've done other things similar to it. We actually have marina apps now where they manage marinas, and you know, we use the boat reservation system to kind of show how the system works, and then say, you know, we can modify that for, you know, the entire marina. So
Gotcha.
it's configurable in that there's you can give the user the ability to go and change the screens and change the layouts and stuff, reports, things like that. But for the most part, it's customizable. And the customizations are not charged, right? Because we know that day one is not going to be like, you know, 2 years down the line. That, like I said, the boat reservation hasn't changed much, but it, you know, it has changed quite a bit. So that we don't charge you for. You know, we're not going to, every time we want to change something, we don't charge you for it. Every time we want to add a feature, we're not going to charge you for it. If you come up with something completely new, you know, okay, yeah, we're using this, but we want this, you know, full maintenance then. All right, that's totally different. You know, that we won't charge you.
Excellent. Any other questions? Okay, we're already past 3 p.m. here.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate you.
So as far as discussing that issue as a board, I'm not sure if we're ready to we want, make any kind of decision now. We want to maybe reflect on.
I just have a curious question. How did this other opportunity come about?
So I have initially inquired about something further along the lines of this thing, because I was having issues myself, trying to make sure this lands on the floor reservation. And then I believe Dan had reached out to Mark, because I didn't know who was facilitating this at first. I didn't know who controlled it. I thought initially it was an Infomark thing. We were just having an issue trying to find the person in Infomark who did this, but it was not. It was Mark who controlled the entire aspect of it.
Okay.
So once that happened, I guess it just snowballed from there. We signed put something
And
together.
I mean, you know, you mentioned, many years ago, you know, Starwood, I had, you know, I used to, you know, update the Harmony website and its old version and all that, and I've, you know, known Mark for a long time, I had no idea of the, one, the capability was, you know, company does and how it directly applies, and any of the history of, you know, the more expanded use for it that was maybe envisioned or hinted at, hey, you know, this is just a trial, and and he reached out to me on hearing that, hey, we're looking at this municipal software, and he said, oh, hey, by the way, you know, this is something that, well, one, that I know he's, you know, been providing, to the community for many years for the web reservation, but maybe there's some differences with the GoGov, but it has the reservation thing that we asked, and I mean, GoGov said, yeah, that's nice, but we have no really thought of when that might be added, or any additional cost versus here, it sounds like it is, you know, it's compartmentalized and that we don't have to take on maybe we decide the facility reservations are infrequent enough that maybe that's fine, still just doing an ad hoc kind of email based, but we want the issue tracking to trying to, you know, improve our accountability there, and oh, by the way, keep, you know, doing the vote reservations. So there's clear differences with the GoGov.
I think it's also important to note that GoGov said that there's really not a way for their system to merge duplicates. So there's no way for their system to recognize that another ticket was submitted with that same issue. Whereas with this one, it looks like they can be merged.
Well, I wouldn't make that assumption.
I mean, that's what he said.
I wouldn't make that assumption like GoGo, but I mean,
They said, he said.
He
GoGov
did
said.
say that, and I think it's, I mean, there's the question of volume too, you know, we're talking about an entire, you know, town or, you know,
Yeah.
celebrations.
That's a fair point. Okay.
well, now we got two decisions to make. Do we want an app? And then which one do we want? If we don't want one, then
And we don't have to make a decision on that right now, we just, you know, some of us were just introduced to the capability that, maybe, I don't know if anyone else on board has, you know, made vote reservations before, and some, yeah, it's been a lot to think about, but I'm open to, input from the rest of the board. Do we feel like we're ready to make a decision now? Do we want to
certainly don't.
get some more?
So would you like to table this for right now along with?
My vote is
yeah, we'll just table it for 6 months before we make a decision.
Yeah, so earlier, we have just a month and a half, basically, we have plenty of time to do our homework for,
Well, and so I think it was Brittany before that said, and with the turnover at Infomark, now that we have all you great guys, maybe things are going to be a little smoother too.
Right.
Because it has been difficult lately, because the left hand didn't know where the right hand was, let alone what it was doing, you know. So I think as things get that way, it's gonna be easier for us to make a decision on this, too, which way to go. So I would like to wait maybe another month. I don't think we wanna wait 6 months.
Well, the way things work, so.
I know.
Okay, well, then we'll table this for right now.
Well, if you wanted to do it tonight, I would
No,
vote
no,
on
I,
a certain
whatever the
one,
board is
but
comfortable with, if you feel
Yeah.
that you need more time for
Yes.
research purposes,
Yeah.
or just in general, you wanna make sure that you know fully what's going on between the two. By all means, it's your decision, this is the table what you guys
yeah,
want to do.
yeah.
all right, sounds good.
Okay.
We have the, consent agenda. Once on the board is related to you and have any feedback.
I do, I have a couple of things.
Yes.
So, where was, on the minutes, on page 27, lines 102 to 107. And then 118 to 139 should be together. Because part of it got above and then another part was inserted. And I'll have to pull that back up now, but, I think this is where we have corrections made, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So,
So I'm sorry, you're saying that there,
It's like an editing issue, maybe?
okay.
well, yeah, it's kind of not in the right order here. Let's see, 102 to 107. It's lines 102 to 107. Yeah, because United is fifth place, Rainbow Pop, 2 belts are down. Okay, and then forgot my mouse, I'm sorry, just a minute here, I don't know how to do this very well. No, I went too far. So Lucas laughs at me, but he's right. No, I know. You grew up with this stuff, so it's easier for you. Where was I? Line 102 to 107. So, they talked about the tree on the corner, which arborists suggest may have been hit by lightning. And then it says United Landscaping is unable to remove the tree or stump, grind it. But I thought we paid them, I thought we approved an order for them to do that. And then down to, forget it, my computer's going crazy, I don't know how to do this. But I think those, it just needed to be, those, yeah, and 124 to 126 should be at the end of the discussion, should it not? The motion and the approval?
It should, if you're saying that it's above before.
Right, right, and so we were still having the discussion and that is above it. And then, yeah, I guess the rest of the other ones already we talked about tonight, and I'm okay, it's okay. So, yeah, that was one, and I think just for clarity's sake, it's better that, because that, the one was over $3,000, so that was a fair amount, you know. So I think it should be clear in the minutes, because when residents read it, you know, we were there and we know what it was, but I think it's better for others who read it, or, you know, 10 years down the road and someone's trying to figure out with that tree, then it'd be clear.
And yeah, for new board members, we can, bring up issues, and I know we don't always, press for time and all that, so no matter if, probably have time to do this. You can also, if you do find an issue with the agenda, send an email right away, and
we'll have it corrected before the meeting.
Yes, I wish I had done that, but, that was the last thing I did as I was going through everything, so.
that way you don't have to stop.
Right, right, so, well, I was already old when I learned how to use a computer, so you know. But the rest of my knowledge and wisdom makes it worth it.
So, does anyone else have anything else, questions about the minutes, from the November meeting or the financials? That were included? I will move to, that.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, supervisor requests.
Oh, is that our turn?
Yeah,
I know we're really pressed on time, so I'll
Yeah.
be super quick, and I appreciate everybody's patience because obviously only my second meeting, but a couple things, the CDD meeting location, so I think, First Nature, Ranch is a beautiful property. It served us well, during our time of necessity, but couple of reasons that I think it's a good reason to move: accessibility. I know that it was pointed out that we were having higher numbers of attendance over the summer due to like budgeting meetings, etc. But meeting attendance have dropped like up to 75%. So I think bringing the meetings back to Harmony is an easier way for residents to attend and participate, etc. But additionally, I was able to get a proposal from Sumesa Cafe, which is in Harmony, has parking. It'll reduce the cost by almost 50%, more than covering the marketing costs that we'll incur. We'll make that up in 2 months. But yeah, I did submit a proposal to Joseph that the Sumesa Cafe pastors have already approved, giving us their access to their facility. It's in Harmony. Again, it will bring down our costs and I think makes it a lot more accessible for Harmony residents. So I just wanted to put that out.
Sure, and just to speak on that, so the reason why, I know the chair gave me, I didn't include it in this agenda because Brittany and I did speak about reviewing the space first, just to make sure it's adequate, especially for you with all the tech,
Right.
and to make sure that the space and everyone will be comfortable and just adequacy altogether. So,
Right.
once her and I, which I believe Monday, we set a date to go and review. Once that's happened, I will have the
And then you can go
agenda
with him.
in
So
place.
you can make sure the audio output, Wi-Fi, all that is adequate.
So I think
separately.
Sure. So once her and I meet, and then you and I meet, then I'll have my admin include it into the next agenda, if that's okay with the board.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, I just have one other thing, which is for bids. So again, only my second meeting, so I'm still learning how things work here, but do we have a system in place for bids for, you know, anything over X amount of dollars? It seems that, again, only my second meeting, but things come up and it's just like voting for them, yay or nay sort of thing. Is there any way, or maybe we have something in place that we could implement a system where, say, anything exceeding maybe $5,000 or something like that, we can get bids on? I think that it, you know, obviously for emergency cases, we can have system in place to override them if you know, things need to be taken care of in a timely fashion. But for non-urgent matters, I think it would be a little bit more mindful of us for our budget to maybe seek out bids to make sure that we're getting the most competitive price.
All right, so, not to have a full discussion on that, but we do have, in our, rules, I want to say it's newer than 2019, because it was with, Teresa on board. We do have, tiers of, costs of, things that come up unexpectedly, and what the district manager can just sign off versus what, I as chairman can sign off, or what needs to come before the entire board for a vote. I have the rules pulled up, but I'm not sure if the.
I can review them if you share them with me. I can review them.
Do you, I mean,
Just not
as
take
district
too much
manager,
time.
I mean, are you off the top of your head?
Sure. So, as to the rules, no, but I can make a comment on that. As district manager, as Dan said, I do have a specific amount that I'm allotted to decisions for on behalf of the board.
Can you share that number?
I believe it's $5,000. Howard, am I correct about that?
Yeah, there is. And it's also emergency as well that Bernie was speaking to, where sometimes that just gets waived because we have to do stuff.
Right.
And been at a hurricane. And what Dan is alluding to, we can share with you, is the 2019 rules of procedure for Harmony, which would list, probably will most likely list those tiers.
Okay, so there already is a number in place where we would get bids before we vote on it?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, as far as if it's, in the course of just the regular, landscaping service, and it's, okay, this, you know, whether it's a dead tree or something has been reported, typically that is, just kind of fallen under the purview of, you know, we have the landscaping contract, and we have, budget line items for, you know, I don't have in front of you, tree service, for example. It's finding the balance between getting something taken care of in a timely fashion,
Right.
and the landscapers are already mobilized, they have staff already out here. I think it's an open topic for discussion for sure.
Well, part of it is too, we've had trouble getting more than one bid. A lot of people don't want to come out to Harmony. Now that may ease up, but after all the hurricanes and that, all the contractors and construction people had so much work to do. And when we had the alleyways done, we had one bid, and that was because David kind of called in a favor, or we'd still be waiting for someone to do that. So we probably will go back to getting more bids when we can, but and our list of people that we can use is also limited. For instance, we were gonna have something done with some air conditioning, and we tried to give it to the local air conditioning guy who we all love, who lives in Harmony, but he didn't have the right kind of insurance, something, because we have to follow all those government
Right,
guidelines,
That
right?
makes sense.
And so that's the other thing with the bids, is we can't open it up to just everyone. I mean, we can, but they have to comply
Right.
with.
Sorry, from what I was told, because I did look into this, from what I was told, there are three factors. One is location for each vendor. And the second thing would be a vendor that the district does have in terms of payment. Every vendor, some of them who are, you know, smaller vendors, compared to like United, they can't wait for the 30 days to get their payment. They would need it up front, or they would need it sooner rather than later. A larger vendor such as United can fit that bill. Can fit that option.
The net 30 terms are whose, ours?
I believe so. Howard, is that ours by the district, or is that something set up through United?
The net 30 terms. The bill will have 30.
That's management. Yeah.
Okay, I mean, that's something to consider. Okay.
Yeah, that's from the information I got, that's probably the most worry. I'm trying to get another bid from another vendor. We could potentially bring in another large company like United, but I just don't know in terms of, because from the conversations I've had with Nick and then also with Howard in conjunction with what's going on, United has come in pretty competitive in their pricing. Bringing another large vendor in may either tip that scale by them offering larger amounts than what we would want in terms of competitive rate for United. But it's entirely to what we're doing.
Okay.
Well, just as a point of interesting, kind of ironic, when we were trying to pick a new landscaping company, 3 companies came and made a presentation to the whole board. And we were really torn between 2 of them, but we ended up picking one, and a month later they came back and they had merged. So, yeah. So.
All right, no, I honestly, I brought it up because last meeting I had asked what the bidding process was. And the response that I got was that we had a long-standing relationship with.
That too, with United.
So, right, which that sounds nice, but I think it would be a disadvantage, or we'd be doing a disservice to the neighborhood by not making sure that we're getting the best price. Now, obviously, as we discussed here, that's gonna come with certain challenges, but I think it's a good idea to explore that option.
For sure. I mean, if, of course, the board, that's something that everyone wants to vote on to get done. I can definitely look and see who would be willing enough to give us a proposal for this type of work or any work moving forward that United had presented to us that they can look over and potentially give a lower price for the district.
Okay.
But that's entirely up to you.
Were you talking about the whole landscaping contract or just
No, I
that
think
one
it's
dead tree?
specific items, proposals
Yeah.
for-
Anything over a certain amount.
Yeah.
Like today we voted on, I think like $7,000. Last meeting, we also voted on close to that number for landscaping stuff. So right, for the tree removal, et cetera. So I was just trying to get clarity on, hey.
Right,
it's a big-
yeah, that's,
Okay.
okay.
I have something real quick.
Is this Carrie, you had a comment about the same issue?
Yeah, so it's Dave, it looks like, so.
Yeah, so I caution if we get too low.
Yes.
Over the years, we build relationships with certain people. When I first started with this group, maybe 4 years ago, we would put bids out and nobody responded. And we finally found people that were trustworthy, that did a good job and were responsive, like people that, they came with the pipes. PJ with an element environmental, he's been a good fit for the CBDs. I couldn't get a consultant to do the 5 Oaks. I had a guy who I got because, he had enough capacity. So I respect the idea of making sure we're not getting taken advantage of, but we do establish relationships with people that have been treating us fairly. So I don't want to get us lower the bar too low because it may compromise.
Quality.
Well, that might be why some of the things around here are not in the best of shape.
Well,
Yeah.
So it's just for consideration.
So I understand what you're saying. It's a point well taken. But I hope you realize that we've been conscientious and trying to do the best with that, so.
Yeah, I was just wondering if there's a system in place, that's all.
And of course, I've got this vision, like landscaping particularly, and it's gonna change day to day, because United is like a company every other day, so they don't do their own tree work. That's all subbed out. Any community where I have United, we generally take outside bids, because that's what United is, they're going to find somebody else, so we usually, I can tell you Celebration, United is our landscape contractor. Bright is doing most of our tree work, because when we bid it out, they do the lowest bidder.
Oh.
Okay.
Do we have enough tree work here to get someone sort of, I don't want to say a contract, but.
Well, it depends on what's within, there are things that within their United's contract, kind of like bring the street trees up to certain.
Oh, okay, so they do that.
But
Okay.
if anything that's not already in the established executed
Yeah.
contract, that it'll pop up things like this, then it sounds like, that's
Yeah.
green light, let's doesn't mean we'll get other bids, but you should, sure at least.
Well, if we start offering people lunch to come out here.
And I would also just like to add that if a board member or they get any notifications of things that are not or under taken care of from United, please forward them to me and I will forward them to Nick to try and, he is the account manager for Harmony, and we will try our best to get this rectified as soon as possible.
Okay. My request,
Yes.
I'm the yard sale committee,
Okay.
so if I want new signs, is that CDD money or HOA money?
Signs,
Cause I got banners, but I was thinking about getting a little bit bigger banners.
So you're talking about like along the highway advertising like an event?
Yeah, I already have them, but some people had said they weren't big enough, or, yeah, is that CDD or HOA?
It's the both entranceways are CDD property, right? The tower and I believe the median and the planters on the side, the west entrance, I believe that's all CDD
But were
property.
you talking about someone to pay for it, right?
But yeah, someone to pay that would manage. Is that HOA or CDD? HOA? Okay, all right.
The activity is all going down.
Okay, thank you.
Others?
I have one last thing just to, make sure that we're all perfectly clear. I guess I misunderstood last meeting when you said, or when it was said that, come 2026 would be needing an advocate, right? I guess that means, maybe I understood wrong, so just help me understand, in come 2026, we need to add another field service employee regardless?
Yeah, to offset the tasks that are given for the field services.
Regardless if we are implementing this happening?
Yeah.
Okay, so,
And I think, Carrie, you can attest to that, right?
It's really a board decision.
Right, but regardless of whether they decide on the go with that, in terms of an additional body.
My recommendation would be put over FTE and make sure budget, so, and then that's a board decision on, yeah, we want to add staff, or we don't want to add staff. But I think regardless of what you do on a work order app.
Well, I do think we need to see how things go, because they're trying to do the sidewalk grinding, and they're trying to do the power wash, and then other things happen, and, right.
So part of this came out, yeah, 22 miles of sidewalks that have to be. That is almost a full-time job for 2 people to knock out, so.
okay, so no, I'm just trying to understand, it seems up until this point, we've had between a 6 and 7% increase, year over year. So I'm just, so I'm just wondering then, come 2026 budget, we'll likely have that 6 to 7% increase plus the cost if we voted on of another field service employee.
I would actually say when the assessment is done.
Okay.
So what I understand is it's my understanding, this is their most recent copy of our contract with our district manager and for field services. So it has the 5 roles and everything.
That is really good. Okay.
Yes.
Like we were last year.
Well, I don't, my understanding is we haven't, done anything like contractually versus just the budget, the fee for the management and field services.
Okay.
That's going up 3% each year based on, whatever other factors, but.
I'm sorry, you said it was going up how much percent?
Off the top of my head, I don't know, but that would be, yeah, I don't have the budget in front of me, what those deltas were from year to year, but I don't think it's the original number that was still on this in 2021.
No, right.
But as far as the texting contract, it is still this to my understanding. So,
Okay.
again, 6 weeks off, enjoy the, holidays, traveling with your families and everything. I do have a couple of requests, and most of these, to be aware of most of these already. The flock with the cameras, we've been paying for them for some time, and we had residents concerns, and we communicated that we'll have, that they let you. Basically, nothing that we've told the residents about it has come to pass in terms of residents being able to, sign up with this or yes, and that's.
I'm still working, and I've been actually working with Howard because Howard initiated the relationship with Flock and myself. So I'm still working on them giving me a full answer in detail on how to get around this.
Yeah,
or how to go through it.
we were given a link for the rest of the board's benefit probably 2 months ago, and I tried to test it out, and it looks good. Flock, Harmony, CDD, and I tried to sign up, and it just doesn't work. And that was 2 months ago, so still waiting on update there. I know it has been passed up the chain at Infomark, but as it relates to apartment developments, we have discussed methodologies in the past, and that's a very fraught issue, and time bombs many times there. But in general, as the system is, or as the status quo is right now, there's a multifamily unit assessment fees, and they're building to 377 units on there. So we know once that splits out, there would be 377 times this multifamily unit paying to O&M and I assume bond service each year. This 377 units we did in 2021. So is it just a matter of we need to be diligent at the time of setting the budget for the upcoming year? Hey, you're gonna have 377 units here. Here's how much it's going to be for O&M and bond, well, bond maintenance would have been, that'll be fixed for the property, but
Well, I thought O and M was already paid every year by them anyway.
it's that's the question. So they're going to be coming in with more units than was in the original plan. If it's a per unit fee,
Oh, I
then that
see.
still would be a higher, they would be
Yeah.
paying more based on there being more units. But when does that take effect? How soon can we start to see benefit from that?
Joseph, that's probably a legal question based on conveyance.
Well, we need to look back in the maps and see what that is and what they've been
That
paying.
goes to the whole other thing that council's already given
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
Again, unfortunate timing of
Yeah.
Becker being out of the country, but we will hopefully see some resolution and possibly action on that.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I have one.
Anyone else have? any
Yes,
other-
I have two things.
Yes.
Mowing on the trail.
Which trail?
That's a, that is something I have some more, homework I need to do on that first, but,
So one of the things oftentimes when I'm trying to figure things out and prepare for meetings is I would like to be able to see our various contracts with our various contractors. Can we have that put on the website? Would that could that be public information?
That's a question for Kate John.
Yeah, I don't think because of the fact of having every single person in the community, and this is just me thinking about it, having the ability to read and get all the information, like I do.
Could we put them in one spot maybe for the supervisors? Because with the website, there's no search feature. So I wanted to look something up and, I'm not gonna sit there and read minutes. I mean, well, I guess I could, but that would just be so time consuming because I don't remember what month it happened.
Well,
you
you
know?
can even go back past like 2022 too on the website.
Well, if you use the historical one,
Right,
you
I have
can-
to get on
yeah,
this too.
yeah. That's why they brought that back up because,
So you're asking in general, just something for the supervisors to be able to reference back on.
right, like I wanted to see the landscapers contract and the Infomart contract and like when we were built the road or the alleyways, we had a contract with that. And sometimes it helps me to think, I mean, I'm sure we all want to be able to look at that sometimes. It helps us to prepare for the meetings and to understand. And it also lays out the legal obligations of both parties.
So what I can do is I can review to see if there's a possibility to add all of that information, because of course. it's-
Well, it can go into our OneDrive or whatever that just does have access
For
to,
sure.
right,
So
right.
it's something that, let me figure out, let me see if I can get some
All right.
answers on whether or not, I also have to discuss with Kate to make sure it is something we can do
All right.
If you can share with the supervisors or we can put on the website.
for the website.
Oh, no, I don't
Okay,
care if
but
it's on the
if
website.
you can get it to the supervisors at least. can you do
That's,
that?
that's the
Rather
main
than-
thing,
I'll-
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if a resident has a question about a
And we can
contract,
answer
we
it,
can
we
always
have the
answer.
information.
And then the other thing I wanted to ask about, there was somebody who wrote and wanted some access. We got a copy of the email. And I want to know what became of that, because I haven't heard any more.
Sorry, refresh me, what was the, because
Well, I didn't know if I should be saying all this out loud. I mean, that his name and that,
Oh, not the name, but what the
Access to
contents of it.
Is that the swimming pool construction?
Yes. And the other thing is, I don't know if Julie and Brittany got that email because their names were not on there, and I did write to you and tell you that. Because your email addresses weren't on the CDD thing yet,
Well, what's also just on that, my personal email. is-
I fixed that already.
It's already
She has
fixed.
finished.
Oh.
I checked.
Yeah.
called him.
Yeah, trust me, I
Well,
I got
I
it.
just got an email, my personal email 2 days ago, so did you?
Yeah, he just
That
fixed
was
it.
done
It was
today.
today, because I was just writing to him again and I went on there and it was fixed.
Yeah.
As I'd already written the email, I hadn't sent it, so,
So to answer your question.
Yes.
The rectified, all those extra pictures, so we have before and after pics, dates, so.
is it gonna be granted?
There was a security deposit that wasn't granted until we got a check for security deposit.
Uh-huh. All right.
500, I think.
Cause it looked on the map like there was water behind it. And I thought maybe we should make sure that you know, it was gonna be okay. So, okay, very good.
So what was the issue with that? I'm sorry, just so I'm.
Granting access easement.
Right, through the easement.
Yeah.
Which we did grant. that.
Yes, which they did send in a deposit for the $500, and we did sign the agreement. So
Alright. I was mostly concerned whether that land would hold the equipment. Cause it looked like there was water behind it, if it
Right,
was swampy
right.
or something.
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, yes.
Well, yeah, well, we got the, they'll figure it out.
Any other requests?
Yeah, I got 10. No, I'm just kidding.
Move to adjourn.
Second that.
Favor.
Aye.
Thank you.
Meeting is adjourned at 8:49.
Thank you, everyone on Zoom.
And everyone, happy holidays.
Yeah, you too, Kate. Yes.
Can you-
Want to re-gift these? Nick left them behind. Yeah.